Say goodnight, Perry. So just keep Ryan and keep the stuff you got. All the deliveries, the eggs, keep that stuff, okay? Don't throw it away. Don't be childish. Don't throw it away. Just keep it through Sunday, please.
All right, this stuff, all the eggs go at the bottom shelf.
Yeah. All right, I'll say goodnight.
All right.
Good night, Perry. Good job. I got rain outside. Yeah, it's pouring all of a sudden. Let me close the window, actually.
Pouring rain by you? Okay, now what do you want me to do with all this beef shit?
Let me see. Let me see it. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
This.
I don't know. I mean,
I'm not gonna eat it.
No, I know.
Sure.
You know what? Just put it in the fridge for now, and then we can toss it after Sunday if nothing happens after Sunday. Just put them in. If you got room in the fridge, put them in the fridge. Obviously, you're not gonna eat them.
Okay.
Where do you live, Miz? That you have no idea what rain is like. It hasn't rained here in a while either. We need the rain. It's pouring there right here, right now.
That'll stay off.
Let me wait till.
How you doing with the download?
It's still transferring, but then I need you to hook up the Samsung because you took a video on that.
Okay.
It was hot. It was really hot today, and I was running back and forth, moving stuff. So I was completely, as Perry would say, ripped.
You there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm just waiting for this to finish transferring.
Okay, let me know when it finishes.
I'm wearing a gray t-shirt and boxer PJs. Faster blade. I'm not going to be able to get away with the PJs if once I do the camera. I like A Bronx Tale, Mark. It's good. It's not in the same league with Goodfellas and Casino, but it's very good. It's hard to watch now, knowing that the actor that plays C, the teenage C, like, you know, he ended up like getting really into drugs, and him and the guy was the guy he was with, like, basically responsible for killing an off-duty cop. So it's hard to watch with that perspective. It's like watching Naked Gun and seeing OJ in it, in a way, and although it's not the same. What is that? What's that noise? Where are the TomB haters, Miz? Did I miss something? I wasn't paying attention. It's okay. People can hate. How's that transfer doing? Oh, he's not in front of the computer. You know, I hear the guy. What's the guy's name? Chaz Palminteri. He does a really good one-man show of A Bronx Tale. I've been curious. He's doing one in Huntington, Long Island. I think in October. And I was curious to see. I've heard good things about it, but I don't know if I would actually get myself to go and see it. Alright, Perry, I'm going to try to finish this thing up here. Sorry, guys. I know this is really not interesting. I'm just trying to get this file. I like Nordberg in Naked Gun. What's sad about not sad, but what's interesting about Naked Gun is OJ's legitimately good in Naked Gun. Like that opening scene where he's, on the ship and he like touches the wet paint and everything. It always makes me laugh. But then you catch yourself and you're like, oh, it's OJ. Hey Perry. Hey Perry. Hey Perry.
Whoa!
Yeah, can you hook up your Samsung real quick? Sorry for the echo. Sorry for the echo. When I'm on his screen, it like doubles the feedback. Perry, I just need you to hook up the Samsung.
Yes, sir. I'm plugging this one.
Yeah, I got that one. John, I think I did deal with Audio Den, but not recently. I'd have to look in my emails. I know I ordered. Where did I order from? You know what you might want to check out, John? Check out. There's a site called Audio Gone, audio and then GON, and it's kind of like a eBay for audiophile stuff. And I always recommend buying audiophile stuff used if you can, because number one, audiophile people are like OCD freaks. They keep their stuff immaculate, and when it's all broken in, and you'll pay like so much cheaper. That's where I got my Focal speakers from. You'll get a good deal on those.
Now, why am I having a problem?
Yeah, I was looking at Audio Den recently because for like media room design. So no, you know what? I was actually thinking of another place. I haven't dealt with Audio Den, but I've been looking for a place that'll give me some advice on a media room. So what's going on, Perry? You plugging that in?
It's already plugged in.
The Samsung is okay. So hang on, let me just log in and get this. Sorry, I'm trying to multitask here. Mute myself real quick so we don't get the echo. Shit, Perry, sorry, you got to select media transfer on their Samsung too. All right, it'll be easier if I just do this over the phone. Bear with me, rather than get that feedback. Hey, wait.
No, I'm not on the Samsung. How do I?
No, I think I got it. I got it. It actually just took a minute to go through. I got it.
Okay. All right, you got it now?
Yeah, everything's good. I'll let you go.
Okay, thank you.
Have a great night. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Thanks for pulling through.
Sorry for being a prick, but,
Sorry for being a prick, but I'm a prick. Is basically what you're saying.
Exactly. I get pushed around.
But you don't get pushed around, Perry. It's just people that love you that like to have fun, and that's what our stream is.
Okay.
I understand some things that trigger you more than others.
Pressure.
Okay, I got all that.
Like my fucking low-leg brother.
I know. Perry, believe me, I empathize with that.
I just closed off the little box and just came up on
Yeah,
screen.
you're all good. You're all good. I closed out everything.
All right.
I've never had any problem with any family members of mine, but I know people have that in their family.
You got sisters, and be congratulated that you got sisters.
I do, and I love them, and I'm lucky enough to be very close with my family. So, but I understand that you're in good
company with your family, meaning they're not out to screw you over.
No, right. But understand. Just I know that the urges to toss Brian and
I'm gonna make this statement, okay? When your parents get old and they're dying, okay?
Yeah.
Make sure your parents, both of them, have a will for which family member gets what.
They do.
Make sure each family member gets exactly what they are supposed to get.
They do.
No one steals from the other.
Yeah, I know. That's not going to happen. Look, it happens all the time. And I'll be honest with you. It happened. My brother-in-law, who's married to my sister Lauren, his father recently passed away, right? And he
something similar happened to that side of the family.
Yeah, kind of, because nobody really talked. Anyway, long story short, he barely talked to his father. His father was a weird guy. But anyway, since he passed, he was my brother-in-law was named executor of the will, and he's got an older brother, and it's created a ton of tension in that family. So when parents pass away, it does create rifts. Now, you already had rifts with him.
Yes.
You already had rifts with him going into it, and this just made it worse. So I understand. I understand that there's trauma there, but I'm glad that you pulled through it. I was it cathartic at all when you were stabbing him? Did that feel good when you were kind of stabbing the standee?
It's like it's not the first time that I've killed an object that looked like him.
Yeah, I bet. But all right, so just keep it through Sunday, and then we can get rid of it after Sunday, okay?
Thank you.
All right.
Good night.
Good job, Perry. I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Bye.
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 All right. Where was I? Moon asked Tom, any ETA on when the videos go up on YouTube? It's been a couple months. Yeah. It hasn't been a couple months since we posted, but it's definitely a couple of months behind. And it's just that I've had a lot on my plate lately, and YouTube has not been the priority of late. But once I get the move over with, and I can catch up on a lot of things, I will. And actually, there's a lot of the videos have been uploaded on YouTube. I just have them set to private right now because I want to upload them chronologically. But a lot of them are ready to go. I just need I need thumbnail art for them. I got to come up with a title for them and some things like that. But a good many of them are already loaded and ready to go. I just got to get a couple of the other ones. There's a couple of problematic ones too, not worth getting into, but with audio fixes that we need to do. But that's gonna come. More details on the watch party. We kind of just came up with it on the fly tonight, so we'll announce that maybe sometime in July. We'll do that on Discord, in the Perry Caravello live Discord. Yeah, John, I heard the place in Huntington is hard to work with as well. There's also a place in Manhasset that I was looking up, like an audio place that I never heard of. There's not too many. You would think there'd be more audio places on Long Island or in New York, and there aren't, which is disappointing. Because I would like to go, like, even when I was in the market to buy those speakers, I would have liked to have demoed them somewhere, but there was nowhere to find them, and I kind of just got lucky. The Perrybot spams the YouTube chat every minute. Well, pretty soon there might not be live YouTube streams. It might just be Twitch exclusively because of the partnership agreement. And I got to look over that. Do I listen to podcasts? I listen to Red Bar, as we've talked about extensively, redbarradio.net, and I used to listen to Gilbert Gottfried's amazing Colossal podcast, but I'm way behind on that. Even though I really do like it, I got to be in the right headspace for it. That's it. I don't listen to anything else. There's nothing else I listen to. Oh, Thorns. Nice. That's some good stuff, John. My advice with anybody getting into like higher end audio stuff is just to do as much research as you can. Unless you have deep pockets, which I don't. Because some people unfortunately, like, the audiophile market caters to people with like OCD, and they take advantage. Like, that's why, like, you'll see like speaker cables that cost $30,000, which is ludicrous, of course. But there's some guy with deep pockets that's going to pay for that, thinking that they're getting the best of the best. And there's also people that are constantly chasing, upgrades and stuff. And for me, I just want a decent system that I can live with now for a good long while, and lose that upgrade-itis, because it just gets cost prohibitive. So I would just do exhaustive research, demo whatever you can, and join some forums online, talk to people, and don't make any rash decisions. Whatever happened to pizza at McDonald's is a podcast. That's interesting. I watched a documentary on YouTube about pizza at McDonald's a while back. I never had it back when they had that. I think it was like 1990. They brought pizza, but oh, cool. I'll save that link. Yeah, I have a really good Technics vintage turntable that's phenomenal, but I would have to redo it. Like, I'd have to get like the recabled and everything. No, Jimmy Kimmel, Don, and Johnny Knoxville steal Perry's money. No, they did not steal any money. Perry sued them because he was with a corrupt attorney and thought he could get some money out of them. But no, they didn't steal any. They didn't steal any money, any Windy City Heat money. And the thing is now, like, I'm not also, and I'm kind of having a one-way conversation with John at the moment, but like, I'm less of a vinyl guy now, because I had a pretty big vinyl collection, but when I moved into the city, I really had to pare down all my stuff, and I got rid of a lot of stuff. So right now I only have vinyl for like my heavy hitters, and I don't play it enough, and I basically use Rune to play all my stuff, and that's why I really if you're really taking music seriously, or playback seriously, it's really important to get a very detailed and robust DAC, a digital analog converter, because a really good DAC can make digital music sound like perfect vinyl. But again, everything costs money. Oh, that's cool. Tell your daughter about Family Perry. I don't have a daughter, but Family Perry. There is such a thing as Family Perry. I've seen Family Perry. I've spoken to Family Perry. Yeah, Joey, they had the thing. So McDonald's had a thing at pizza, and of course, it didn't work with McDonald's. I think there's one McDonald's in the country that still does it, apparently, as of this documentary, which was a few years ago. I think somewhere in the Pacific Northwest, but. They had to have special ovens made for it, and the thing with the pizza was you couldn't have it just sitting under a lamp, and so it was made to order, which doesn't go along with the McDonald's thing of, like, order something and you immediately get it. It wasn't fast food, and also a lot of McDonald's, you couldn't fit the pizza box through the drive-through window. So you mostly had to go in and get it, and then some places had special windows built just to fit the pizza box through. I forget the name of the documentary, and a lot of people ask me about what YouTube channels I watch, because I talked about how much I watch YouTube, and I'm going to do a master list when I get a chance. Maybe over the weekend, I'm going to do a master list of like a lot of my favorite YouTube channels in the Facebook group, and maybe also on Reddit. And then if you guys want to add to it, I thought that'd be cool if we just do a master list of all our favorite YouTube channels, because there's probably a ton of stuff that I don't know about. Yeah, Miz, I agree. I love records too, but especially this moving shit. I got to build a new media server, but I kind of have an old media server, and I have all my music on there, like lossless music, and that's basically how I play music. I just don't have the time for vinyl as much, and also it's kind of robust. But yeah, John, I really recommend this Mola Mola Tambaki DAC if you can afford it. It's insanely expensive. There's only one U.S. dealer based in New Jersey. He actually has a YouTube channel. The name escapes me of the place. But if you look on YouTube, just look up Mola Mola DAC. Don't ask me to spell it. And but it's it's in the same price range as like the Cord Dave, which everybody says is the best DAC. But I personally, having experienced it, I don't feel that way. But this Tambaki thing is the real deal. But it's get a good DAC. What was the first big three thing I was involved with? I don't know, to be honest with you. I think it was just like probably like some behind the scenes stuff early on, but I can't pinpoint an exact thing. Are there McDonald's that fry apple pies too? That's interesting. That's a long gone thing. Let me find, now that I'm in front of the phone, let me find this. Oh, he's got an apology text from Perry. This is nice when I get these. Sorry for being such a prick tonight. You work so hard, and I appreciate it. See, that's nice. You guys don't get to see that side of Perry. I like that. It makes me feel good. I'll find this for you real quick. Well, not real quick because it's taking forever. Yeah, this company called Mola Mola. They're based in the Netherlands, but like I'm in love with their stuff. It's just so out of my price range. They have this integrated amp called the Kula, Kula, but it's like, it's the price of a car. But there's this one YouTube channel that has a pretty good scale of really high end stuff. GTT Audio on YouTube, and their website is gttaudio.com. It's based in New Jersey for like really high end like audio stuff. But that's where I was looking at those Kronos turntables. Not that I'd ever be able to afford it. I couldn't. Mark, yeah, call in. Can you get Ray on the phone on Sunday, Mark? And I know, Mark, you're not on Facebook, but I posted a pretty cool text that you would appreciate about Perry wanting to have sex with the bestest Jedi ever. I thought that was fun, and I sent it to you, but I guess you didn't get it if you're not on Facebook. I think Chris Fontaine sent the Brian Standy, if you guys want to give credit where it's due. When Perry comes to New York, yeah, he'll probably stay at my place, probably. The thing though is, I don't know about doing a stream from New York because he'll kind of be neutered at somebody else's place. Like, he won't be I don't know. I got to figure out how that's going to work. Yeah, Mark, you can take a break. I've taken breaks from Facebook. I can't take a break from Facebook now because I need it for this shit. But I don't do anything on Facebook. Like, very rarely. Maybe I'll post like a random personal thing, semi-personal thing every now and then. But I really try to be extremely private on social media. I don't even Insta. Like, I really don't use any of it. I use it for PCL stuff, but me personally, I don't care anymore. Like, I never post on Twitter ever. Will I let Perry tape eggs to my ceiling? Probably not. Yeah, let's do it, John. We'll bring Perry to Fire Island on the. I've always wanted to go to Fire Island, actually. I've never been. I've never been anywhere. I've never been to the Hamptons. I've never been to Montauk. I've never been anywhere like Long Island-y that's like beachy outside of Jones Beach and Robert Moses. Ooh. Hero says McDonald's in Hawaii serves Spam for all meals. That's interesting. Yeah, I agree, Mr. Giant Dog. I agree. Twitter is dead, and it's boring. I used to get news from there. I used to get like information from there. Now I don't log in at all. I really don't. I don't care. It doesn't interest me. Cherry Grove. Is that, should I know that name? I think people are going to get tired of the Karen outrage, though. For Twitter, we'll see. It's going to take a while. Yeah, see, I don't. So I'll see how that works. I don't know. Eventually, he'll come. You haven't been on Twitter or Facebook in years. It helps with your, yeah, it does help with your mental state, but I feel like you miss out on thing. Oh, I figured it was a gay thing. I do think you miss out on things. You know, some things that you need to be clued into. Like I go on Facebook pretty much for the Perry Caravello Live group and a couple other groups, and that's it. And then I'm out, and I don't get sucked in. I don't get into person. Once in a blue moon, I'll like comment on somebody's thing if I accidentally see it. But I don't look. I don't look at my feed ever. I never scroll through my feed. I go right to groups, and I go to the groups that I'm in. I'll take a look. I'll comment here and there, or I'll ask a question, and then I'm out. That's it. I don't. I use Messenger quite a lot, but that's kind of a separate thing. Oak Beach Inn off Ocean Parkway? No, I've never heard of it. You have polite political discussions? How does that work? The pug is not mine, Ms. I dog sit for the pug occasionally. It's not. It's not my pug. So he is elsewhere. He was here. Was it last week? Yeah. So it's. He'll be back. I don't know. I don't know if you guys are gonna hear him again because maybe at my new setup is gonna be different. So. But yeah, the pug is not mine. So that's why he's not here. But it was nice. Especially when the weather was colder, he'd come in the office where I am, and he'd just like sit and snore. So people like, yeah, John, I'm always up to talking audio. Definitely hit me up. Any advice you? Not that I'm a master, but at anything, I'm not. But I've had some experience in the audiophile world. So if you have any questions about purchases and stuff, I'll give you the best advice I can to my ability, and I'll point you to some good forums and stuff. So yeah, we'll grab a drink and talk audio one time. I'd love that. Good night. And thank you. TomB, you should do a PCL event in Tampa. My parents have a condo with a private beach that me and Perry can use. They only use it for a month a year. Free place and it's good. Yeah, done. Let's do it. Done. Absolutely, I will take you up on that. Hit me up. I mean, maybe not for the first event. I still think the first event should be kind of like Vegas-y, but for a future event, absolutely, positively, yes, I would love to do that. And I like Florida. I like Tampa a lot. I'd be living in Tampa if I had my druthers. Well, maybe not Tampa, but definitely not New York. Oh, Mark, yeah, I thought you'd like that, Mark. No, I'm staying in New York. New York, again, I said this before. I basically stay in New York for my parents. That's why, it's cost prohibitive to live here. And I definitely paid way more for where I'm moving to than I should have just because the market's so inflated. And it was supposed to happen a year ago, and it just got pushed back and pushed back. Like basically where I am now is like it was a temporary thing. So it's like, and I've moved like 3 years in a row now. So I'm hoping this will be it for a while. But as long as my parents are around, my sisters live out of state. I need to be close to them to take care of things. Just like little things, like even cleaning their gutter stuff. My dad can't necessarily do anymore, like cleaning the gutters out. Doing lawn stuff or electricity. If their cable goes out, so, anything like that. They're having a problem with the internet. I want to be 15 to 20 minutes away where I can drive and take care of it immediately. And so I'm going to be in New York for as long as that's a thing, and then after that, who knows? Cha-Cha, my dad's still the same, up and downs. He's feeling better, still going through a lot of tests. Saw another doctor this week. No change in either direction really, which is good. But he's very optimistic that he'll pull through and everything will be back to normal. But I think he's frustrated. He wants to go back to the gym. He wants to go swimming and all this stuff, and the fact that he can't, I think he feels kind of neutered. But hopefully that'll be thing. Can there be more streams throughout the week, like the test streams? Maybe. Once I get set up at my new place, maybe. Honestly, I'm serious. I gotta remember to remind him to ask Sheila tomorrow about the tip. I would, cause then I would like to do a Sheila hair dye stream, like for a Saturday. I mean, maybe it's like an hour and 15 minutes or something like that. But going live on Brennan times. It's tough though with 3 days a week. If we ever went down to 2 days a week, I think there'd be more of a chance for like random pop-up streams. Now with like dedicated 3 days a week, it's a little tougher. But maybe if we're both feeling it, like hey, let's go live like for a quick like Saturday night or something like that. Maybe people make a big deal about the June 26th thing, and that's next Saturday. Even though next Friday's stream will cross over into it, and I don't like making too big of a thing out of the date because I think that's been done, and I don't want to be derivative. But if he's up to it, and maybe we'll pop on it, but I can't guarantee that. Yeah, the Brazilian's gonna happen. Garrett's gonna help out with that, and he's gonna definitely need hazard pay, but that's gonna happen sometime in July. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I think as far as like pop-up streams here and there, but you don't want to go, you don't want to do too much. Twitch in order to make partnership, they really want you to stream like more than twice a week, and that's really why we've kept the schedule we have. But I kind of like it the way it is right now. We'll see. What's the next event? The events kind of come up organically. You'll know the next event when it happens. So I don't know. The answer is I don't know, but it'll come. It'll come, and we'll figure it out. Perhaps Sheila can do the Brazilian. That's a great idea. I don't think she'll be into it. I've never seen Sheila. I've never talked to Sheila. Oh no, I did talk to Sheila once. That's not true. What are the chances that Brian's still around by Sunday? Downtown dingy Vegas. I like that idea. Zero? Yeah, I kind of have a feeling that he's going to wake up tomorrow and like find it and throw it away. We'll see. I hope not. Because there were some things that came in and we had so many. I was actually kind of a miracle. I was trying to space the offers where the one he would get upset the most would come last, and I thought that would be the 92 recreation. But in hindsight, it should have been the Hail Brian because I knew he would freak out about it. And then I knew if he was going to stab it and rip it up and everything, that we wouldn't be able to do the other one. But we got him back. But that was a lot. But anyways, a lot of people were hitting me up, be like, oh, could we do this, that? And I was like, oh, we'll have to save it. I have to save it until Sunday. Yeah, I'm curious to see what she looks like too, Mark, Sheila. I think she probably looks normal. And I think, Sheila's kind of like. Yeah, by the way, I saw somebody just sent in a tip comment. If you send in a tip comment now, it'll just get played on Sunday. So Colin just sent one in. I think Sheila should be treated like Trevor. What I really like the Trevor thing is like people really like Trevor, and like there's no bad things about Trevor. So I wouldn't like, if she was ever on a stream, let's just say, people should be cool with her. Like don't diss Sheila or say anything, like nasty to her. I think that's the way to go with that. Because otherwise you don't want to. And I know most of you would know that, like, not to be disparaging to Sheila. I'm saving Perry's DNA test for a while, but yeah, he's definitely going to get a full report for 23andMe. I took that Q-tip and sent it into the proper people, and they're analyzing it as we speak. Because that's the thing, and also I don't like anything mean spirited. I know it's definitely there's a lot. It definitely crosses lines here and there with the. I can only speak for the streams. But I don't like mean spirited stuff. Like I don't like mean spirited stuff where it's just like, and you know it when you see it. It's like where it's just like, okay, this is just nasty. Like the stuff with his mom, like mechanic stuff. Like that's just, that goes beyond nasty. That's just disgusting. But I think you can be playful with Sheila without being outright disrespectful or like nasty. It's like birds chirping. It's only 3:30 in the morning. It's weird. I get there's a weird collection of like birds that might be off their clock. Cause I hear them chirping at like around this time, and it's really nasty. Yeah, the mods do a great job. Hero and Joey, amazing, and we communicate throughout the stream. And sometimes it's hard to keep track, but they're very good at focusing on certain things, or like if there's an element that needs to be addressed, whether it's tech or an offer or something like that. It couldn't fucking be done, and 3 days a week's a lot for people to like, spend on it. I know some of it's fun, but Hero and Joey both do an amazing job. So it feels really good to have a nice team, a PCL team, and an extension of that, Scott, who does so much back end stuff for us, and then Garrett, who does all the clipping and runs the TikTok, and we got those new channels. And so if you guys can follow those new the new Instagram and Twitter, that would be great, because I'd like to build those up and have those as clip channels. It varies, Mark. How many hours do I sleep a day? It depends. Like the last Sunday, I really fucked myself because I stayed up late on this. And I forgot what time we wrapped up. It was like, I don't know, it felt like 6. And I had to be up somewhat early. I got about 2.5 hours, if that. And I was a zombie all day Monday. I was in rough shape on Monday. Oh, nice. Here it says we hit the 420 milestone in Discord. That's cool. Yeah, if you're not in Discord, join the Discord. Even if you don't know what it is. I didn't even know what it was. But it depends. Sometimes I can grab a nap. Like if I get 4 hours at night, I can get a 90-minute nap in maybe. It depends. I try to get 8 hours, but it doesn't work out. I was like 7:30. Yeah, so Sunday, if my head hit the pillow at 7:30, let's say, on Monday morning, I was up at 9:15. So maybe I got an hour and 15 minutes of sleep. And I felt it. As much caffeine as I had, it did make a difference. I was wrecked, and I didn't catch up until really. And then I went to bed super early Monday night, and then woke up early too. Yeah, it's it's a cycle. It's a cycle. It's not the best. It's not, my sleep schedule's not the best right now. Yeah, Joe. Perry's mentioned that story before about Palm Springs. It was something like, I forget the ins and outs of it. It's not as interesting as it sounds. Oh, that's cool, Mumbles. Yeah, I mean, the only reason I'm on Twitch and Discord is Perry. There's no other. I don't really. I watch other Twitch channels sometimes just to get an idea what other people do, like the really successful ones. But there's no reason to be on Twitch for me. Unless Perry. So I think a lot of people are only on Twitch because Perry. There's no other channel like it. There's no other. Yeah, I mean, yeah. There's no. I can't think of any other Twitch channel that is worth investing time in that I could think of. There's a lot of heavy gaming channels and stuff like that are interesting to see from a technical aspect for me, just for research. And Discord too. I basically didn't hear of Discord, but it's cool. But yeah, and the only reason to be on Discord, there's other Discords. Like I noticed too. Like there's somebody said there's a Red Bar Discord. I've never even heard of that, and I don't think I'd be interested in that. But yeah, the only thing I need is a thing. I'm curious about that too. Do duck eggs taste like chicken eggs? That's a great question. I don't know. I've seen on menus sometimes like a duck egg omelet, kind of like I had ostrich egg once and it was interesting. Yeah, I'm with you. I don't join TikTok either. I like the fact that Perry Caravello Live has a TikTok, and Garrett does an amazing job running that. But it's for girls. It's like your girlfriend, wife is for TikTok. Yeah, I don't do TikTok either. It's yeah, I draw the line there. But I'm glad that But if you do TikTok, I like the Perry Caravello channel. Twitch is bad, dude. Perry's the only reason to be here. Yeah, I agree. Perry's the only reason to be on Twitch. There's no other reason to be on Twitch. Unless you're a Twitch guy. And then, there's plenty of people. There's a lot of people that discovered Perry because they were Twitch people and they watch other stuff. Yeah, I thought so too here. So, here I had like those, there's that subreddit. There's like those like troll subreddits for Red Bar. Somebody mentioned that there was a Red Bar Discord. But obviously it's not official because Mike doesn't do Discord. So it's just whatever. Tim says, I only subscribe to Twitch for Perry. I was suckered into following Susie Hilf due to a hot tub rumor. Big lie, apparently. But yeah, I only subscribe to Perry. Thank you. That's cool. Yeah, there's no... I mean, if you're looking for this kind of thing, you're not going to... There's no reason to go anywhere else. TikTok is for social media users with the lowest IQ. It's very disposable. It's hard. I've seen it. Like, it's hard for me to even figure out. Like, my brain doesn't work like that. I couldn't be tuned into to TikTok. Defiant P. I like your name, Defiant P. Says, I've come across a couple of random streams that you enjoy, but nothing that you'll sit there watching as long as you do PCL. Yeah, I can't imagine. Doing that. Yeah, R.I.P. John Paragon. I was bummed out to hear that. Really bummed out. Apparently, they didn't give much detail. It was kind of like... yeah, by the way, John Paragon played Zombie on Pee-wee's Playhouse. And apparently he passed away in April. And just came out now. No, I've never seen the Paragon of Comedy. but I check it out. Yeah, so yeah, it's bummer news. Good night, Mark. I'm gonna wrap up soon. I know I say that, and then it's like 4 hours later, but I really am. I'm fried. I was back. I just this moving shit takes its toll on you. Just like and I don't have to go that far. I'm only like without traffic, 15 minutes away from where I am now. But just like you just realize how much shit you have, and just boxing up stuff. Like I'm boxing up like pots. Today it was like pots and pans, and because I'm not cooking here anymore. Like I cleaned the stove for the last time, and just going back and forth. It was exhausting. Oh no, that's hard. He drank himself to death. That is really, that's heartbreaking. I didn't know he had a. I don't know. I don't know anything about him really, outside of his work with Pee Wee. But that's tough. It's tough. Thanks, Tom to go. People subscribe. Surprisingly worth it. Thank you. Am I a turtle? No, I'm not a turtle. Huh. I'll check that out. Where's everybody from, by the way? Is it mostly North America? Anybody international? I'm just curious. Defiant P, where are you from? Mr. Patsy, Jesus Christ, Tim. All you guys, where are you guys from? Right, I knew he worked with Elvira. I only saw Elvira's for that first movie, the one that came out in '88, Mistress of the Dark. I know she did another movie like in the 2000s that was filmed somewhere like, oh I don't know, in like the Ukraine or something like that. I never saw that one. Denver, cool. Baltimore. Oh, you're in Queens, Defiant P. Awesome. Look, well, I lived in Queens for a long time. Slovenia. Tampa, Vermont. Wisconsin. 30 miles from Perry. Well, yeah, I figured you were close to Perry because you sent that awesome. God, Chacha, I know I said this to you privately, but that Del Taco you sent that day was a lifesaver. It really made being in there a little, because I was starving and I was really low. I was just low on everything, and that really revitalized. Yeah, you can send me food on Sunday. I'll figure out the ins and outs of it. I don't want to like type my address out, even though like I'm out of here I'm really out of here on Monday. So, people want to like send the cops over or whatever. Have at it because I'm not gonna be here. Like Perry would say, I'm not gonna be here. I'm gonna be somewhere else. But I don't want to like blast it and like have some TomB hater or whatever. Not I don't know if there's a contingency of TomB haters, but especially the idiot that sent the cops to Perry. Like I wouldn't want that coming into my building. Although it's a doorman building, it'd probably be okay. Like, to be honest, they do vet people. But yeah, so what I'll do is I'll give my address to the moderator, Joey Hero, and like here's the address, here's the apartment number, and yeah, you can do it. Now the apartment I'm in now is 2 floors. Not to sound fancy, but it's kind of like a duplex, and the office is on the 2nd floor. Bedroom and office are on the 2nd floor. Living room, kitchen downstairs. So I'd have to keep my ear out for the door, and then like run down when it comes. Like, hold on. But yeah, you can. Where did I get my pizza in Brooklyn? Well, I grew up in Marine Park, Brooklyn, which is South Brooklyn. And there was a pizza place that my youngest sister's friend's family owned on Flatbush Avenue, very close to Kings Plaza Mall. I can't remember the name of it. It's long gone. But they also had it's the first place I ever played Ms. Pac-Man. They had a Ms. Pac-Man machine, and they had great pizza. as I got older, years later, when I'd revisit Brooklyn, I'd find other places. But aside from Joe's, I've talked about this. Like, there's Joe's Pizza, and there's a couple of locations in the city. Joe's Pizza, the main place is on 6th Avenue and Bleecker. It's in I believe Spider-Man 2 with Tobey Maguire features Joe's. That's, a lot of people say, would be the best pizza. But the Joe's location, and there's also one near NYU, kind of on the east side, nowhere near as good. But their Williamsburg location, I think, is the best pizza in New York. And I haven't tried every place, I haven't. But I've tried the places that people rate very highly. Like John's of Bleecker, I know, like Barstool, Dave Portnoy says that's the best. It's not. It's fine. It doesn't compare to Joe's. Not in my opinion, but everybody's different. Oh, you're gonna be there for, you're gonna be in where in Brooklyn are you going? I'll get a list for you if you want to hit me up. I'll get a list for you, because I do. I mean, I know people that really value. There's a place in Brooklyn, in downtown Brooklyn, if that's where you're gonna be, that people say is really good, and they have a charcoal or coal burning, not charcoal, coal burning oven, which is, you can't get anymore because. Like it's illegal or something, but they're grandfathered in. If you're grandfathered in, if you had it all along, and I forget the name of it. It's on one of the Barstool videos, like the one bite. I haven't kept up with those. I used to watch those a lot on YouTube, but really good. Oh, okay, yeah, you're downtown, so you got a lot of places, and you're not far from Park Slope or Carroll Gardens. There's a lot of places there. Yeah, I'll put some thought into it. In fact, I'll write myself a note. Brooklyn pizza. I was having a conversation recently. I know, I must come off as this like obese behemoth, always talking about food, but I just find it an interesting subject. And yes, I definitely have indulged this past year, but I just find it an interesting topic. Oh, thank Uncle Dallas. That's nice to say. TomB is cool. He works very hard to bring us entertainment. I appreciate that. You almost made a racist joke, racist joke, right here with what TomB said. But we're on Twitch. Comedy is on live sport. I know. Somebody on YouTube like sent me a message and said like, TomB, you really shouldn't be. I think it was right around TomB week. Something like, you really shouldn't be on mic or anything like that. You're way too PC, and we're not into that kind of comedy. We want to see Perry freak out and everything, and you're just too PC. And it's like, I'm not PC. I'm the furthest thing from PC. But if you're on these platforms, you just gotta attune yourself to their sensibilities. But I guarantee you, I think it was the person that sent. There was somebody that sent a license plate. Like homosexual license plate, but it wasn't. It was like homo. It wasn't homo. It was. I forget what it was, and I was there, and I think we opened it in mailbag, and I was very dismissive about it because it's kind of a lame gag, and I just put it together like because that message came in like later that night, and I was like, oh, I guarantee you that's the person that sent that license plate that said that, but it doesn't make me. Yeah, I'm fucking starving right now. It makes me hungry too. I didn't eat dinner tonight. I didn't. It's always my fault because I was running around, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh shit, it's 8 o'clock. We got to be on live in an hour. Yeah, it is, but I said it's lowbrow comedy jokingly, but it is lowbrow. It is lowbrow. Like, I really believe that. I don't think that's PC to say that that's lowbrow. Yeah, it was like, what do you like? Is that really what you want to like this channel? Like, oh, here, Perry, here's a license plate that says homo. Oh, it's so funny. Like, let's hang this up. Like, really? like I'm trying to get away from that shit. Like, and not even like from tech. I just think there's better stuff. Like, look at all the creative people. Like, all you guys. Like there's so much creativity that goes on here. I just think that's like just like low rent. But whatever. That's my opinion. I don't think it makes me PC to say that. Yeah, Joey says right. If you're gonna call Perry gay, do it in a creative way. It's like that's just. I don't know. So I guarantee you, the person who wrote me that message was that sent in that, and they probably thought it was going to get a big pop, you know. So you need me to take care of myself and eat before, or have food delivered. Okay, yeah. Hey, listen, you food delivered. I wish I had Del Taco or something, but yeah, I live in Westbury, New York, so. And it's a hub. It's on Long Island, not far from the border of Queens, where there's everything. Like there's everything. There's a McDonald's in walking distance. You have Boston Market, Chick-fil-A. Although Chick-fil-A is ridiculous. Like there's like an hour wait. Like I would never order Chick-fil-A delivery because I just would never make that delivery driver wait on that line. It's always long, and it's only been there for the past like year and a half or so it's still kind of a new thing. There's Taco Bell, there's Five Guys, Shake Shack, and then you got all the chains, Chili's, Fridays, which is disgusting, Applebee's, which is disgusting, like all the chains. There's a Cheesecake Factory, there's everything. It's literally everything. There's good pizza places. There's a place down the block from me which is great pizza. So definitely have a lot of options, or a lot of bad options, and that's kind of what put weight on me this past year. Is I just relied heavily on all those places. There's even like good Mexican places, and like last March, late March, when like the world was ending, I was like, well, fuck it, let's just. I'm not going shopping, so let's just order food, and yeah. Yeah, Mumble. I think he did. He cooked. How did he cook a pizza in an unwarmed oven? He didn't preheat that oven. He just put it in and cooked it for 10 minutes. That pizza looked disgusting. And I hate Trader Joe's. We've talked about this. I do not like Trader Joe's. There's one thing I like from Trader Joe's, and that's that ice cream sandwich. Other than that, I can't stand Trader Joe's. Oh, your little pizzeria on Court Street in Brooklyn is very good. Been around since '85. That's cool. Yeah, there's a lot of places in that downtown area. There's a lot of good places. Is Thumper a prostitute, Mr. Pasty? Getting Perry to talk about Thumper. Is that a prostitute? We need to get Perry and TomB to act out duck season a bit. Perry is Daffy. I like that. I've never been to Amityville. I think I would. No, that's not true. I think I was in Amityville like once to look at the house. A long time ago, like in high school. But I've never really been to Amityville. I don't even know where Amityville is. Like my Long Island geography is terrible. That's cool. Yeah, I agree, Tim. The sound of the pizza was gross. Like the crunch, it was gross. I know, Cha-Cha, believe me, I know. I look, it's one of the things that I'm going to work on in July, and I got to firm up my schedule. I need to eat regularly. And I haven't been doing that. Like there's a day, like there was a full day this week I didn't eat at all. I just didn't eat. I was doing stuff, I was running around, and I didn't eat. And I know that's terrible. And now I eat like one meal a day, but it's not even like intermittent fasting. I overeat the one meal I do because I'm starving myself. And then I'll eat like a bigger meal than I should. And then I'll drink a beer with it or something, and that's not good. And I've never been a snacker. Like the real healthy people, like they snack throughout the day. I can't do that. But I do have to eat more than once a day, and I'm gonna once again. I have all the excuses in the world, like Perry, but once I get the move out of the way and get more settled, I'm gonna really try that. I'm gonna get back. I'm gonna get back to my gym too. Now that you don't have to wear masks, but what sucks is my due to the pandemic, the personal trainer that I had, who I was really close to, and we're still friends. And like I said, he's my realtor now, so I see him now, and I'm just ashamed at how out of shape I've gotten. But he's not there anymore, so I'd have to find a new. I mean, I probably wouldn't get a trainer right away, but I like having a personal trainer because it holds me accountable. And so I have to vet a new trainer, which sucks, but I'm gonna do that in July. Eat 1 dozen eggs, whole wheat toast, and organic blueberry jam from Trader Joe's. No. I got to start eating breakfast again. I haven't had breakfast in a long time. And when I was really healthy, I was in an amazing good kick about 2 years ago, and even a year and a half ago. I would have this like protein scrambled eggs thing. I'd make like 5 eggs, scrambled eggs, and then like put like some kind of protein meat in it, and like mushrooms and stuff, and I would have that as my breakfast. No carbs or anything like that. Just eat those, and then I'd do some work, and then I'd go to the gym. I'd do my training, and then I'd come back. I'd have a protein shake in the afternoon, and I'd have a reasonable dinner, like no carb, like a burrito bowl or something like that. No carbs, except maybe on a Friday or Saturday I would cheat. But that's what shed all the weight off me. That's when I was like fucking great. But I'm far away from that now. But I'm gonna get back to it. Perry in Amsterdam could be interesting. He's got to get a passport. Thumper. All right, well, remind me on Sunday about Thumper. I you guys know sometimes more than me about the Perry stories from old. Yeah, So Tom, you look great in the Two Dons clip on Big 3 Premium membership. Yeah, that's when I was in my zone. I got to get back there. That's when I was in my zone. I was like, and I remember taking that trip, and I was bummed out that I couldn't work out as much. Like I was working out at the gym. I was like, super into it, but all it takes is for something to go wrong and affect my schedule somewhat, and I fall off the wagon. Big toe still hurts. Big toe still hurts from that fucking speaker dropping on. I'm actually looking at it right now. I got a little black mark on it. So I saw stars. It hit me at the right. I mean, there was nobody around when it dropped. I was like ready to cry. Like I was like, it's one of those things where if there's nobody around and it's something like that, it's like it doesn't make any sense to scream. But I was like, I had my headphones on, and I was actually I forget what I was listening to. And I was just fuck, and like trying to shake it off, but man, yeah. I guess Trader Joe's has some good microbrews and stuff. It's just not worth going into Trader Joe's. Trader Joe's, and I hate people that love Trader Joe's. Like my least favorite activity of going to Trader Joe's is dealing with all the people in Trader Joe's that are like Trader Joe's enthusiasts. And they're buying like all their fucking bread and stuff. I think their produce section sucks. Their meat section is non-existent. Just, yeah, not for me. Yeah, I like the Florida idea. Jesus, I like that a lot. Can we get Perry to do an ASMR segment? Yeah, I think we could do that. What do I listen to? I mean, I think I was just listening to music today, but it's funny. I talk about this. I mainly listen to, in my downtime, I'll listen to Red Bar, the podcast that hates all comedians, which I hate all comedians too. So, but he hasn't done a show in 3 weeks, and I'm normally behind on episodes. And the fact that I'm completely caught up is weird because, like, I'm never caught up. And now if I'm caught up, there's a problem. So maybe they'll have a show this weekend or something. But yeah, that's what I listen to mainly in my downtime. Yeah, it's like when you stub your toe on the corner of a wall or something. It's rough. Especially, it's weird. If there's somebody else in the room, I'm more articulate about the pain. I'll start cursing. I'm like, motherfucker, cunt, fuck, shit, whatever. But when you're by yourself, it's just about the pain. I don't express it as much, which is strange. You would think it maybe be the other way around. Oh, that's the worst. That's the worst. I can't. Jesus says, I can't stand when other comedians call each other geniuses. Two comedians talking to each other, period, is torture. It's torture when they talk about their craft, the craft of comedy, or how hard they work, or how much work they put in, or when they give new comics the schooling of, you really got to knock around, X amount of years before you can do this. Like, who the fuck are you? You're just some fucking loser. Like, really? Like, what? Who decided to give these people these monikers that they're anything to be looked up to? They're just, like Red Bar calls it right. They're just professional liars that tell fake stories for simpletons. And again, there's certain comedians that are excluded from this conversation, like Norm, for example, in my opinion. But yeah, most of them are just garbage. That's why I hate listening to them being interviewed, or when they interview themselves on their own podcast and they talk about how they killed a room the other night, or how they handled a heckler. Like, oh wow, you're great. TomB, just a heads up, there's been an increase of ladies in the chat calling me sexy. Name names. Are you one of them? I saw Liz being playful the other night, but aside from that, no, I haven't seen that. But it's nice. Yeah, I agree, Hero. Fill the comment. That's the one thing I liked about the pandemic. I actually loved the fact that all these comedy clubs were closed and they couldn't, and all these starved for attention comedians didn't have an outlet, and they turned to online, like to varying degrees of success. Yeah, I love Norm too. Norm's my absolute favorite comedian. He's really the only comedian I really truly love. I like Gilbert Gottfried too, but he hasn't changed his act since like 1987. But I still like him. I've seen him a number of times. Susie and I are really good friends, but yeah, I think Liz kid's around. Yeah, I agree. Norm is the best stand-up comedian of all time. Against anybody else that people say is the best. He's better than Pryor, in my opinion. Better than Carlin, which is everybody references those two as the best ever, and I'm not taking anything away from either one. But Norm and his I don't give a fuckness is what makes it. Yeah, Adam. I consider Adam a friend, and he's great with Norm. Great. I love that. I wish they would bring that YouTube podcast back. I didn't like the Netflix show, as we talked about, but I really like the YouTube show. And there's so much Norm stuff on YouTube. You can spend weeks and weeks and weeks and months combing through it. Yeah, Dangerfield's good too. I don't, not all Dangerfield, but yeah, I like Rodney, but I wouldn't listen. I wouldn't go out of my way to listen to him now. I mean, not now like his modern stuff, because I know he's no longer with us. But I don't. It doesn't resonate with me now as much as it did at the time. Yeah, the Netflix show was just bullshit. It was just yeah. He seemed very uncomfortable on it too. The Netflix show. I remember being excited when he first got it. I don't think Artie's a good stand-up, Joe. He's a good storyteller, but he falls into like a bit of a hacky category. But I always liked Artie as a podcast guest and stuff, when he's not completely high out of his mind and telling the same stories over and over again. But I've seen his stand-up, not in person, but I've seen it like on video. I've heard it. It doesn't. I wouldn't go out of my way for him, but it certainly not anywhere near the worst guys, like really bad guys. Like there's people that do it, like are always seem to be popping up that you're like, how is anybody seeing this guy? Mumbles, when did you see Eddie Murphy for the first time? Because I understand what you're saying. You don't understand the hype over Eddie Murphy's old comedy stand-up, and you watched Delirious and Raw and didn't laugh once. I think you had to grow up with it. I think you had to see it at the time, because at the time Delirious was amazing, and I haven't heard it in a long time, or Raw, but at the time they were fantastic. funny, but I haven't heard them in a long time. But I understand why you would say that. TomB, would I ever consider a private, uncensored stream for Credenza members? Yeah. Patreon they have a live streaming feature. I don't know how well it is or if it works with YouTube, but I would consider that. Mark Maron? No. I think Mark Maron's horrible. Howie Mandel just started a podcast. Yeah. By the way, I like Howie Mandel as a person. Like he's fun, and I was always fascinated by his insane germ phobia and his OCD. His actual comedy, not as much. I didn't even know Mike Tyson had a podcast. That's interesting. I like the modern era. Mike Tyson. Am I a Dice fan? No, I'm not. But I remember when that first album came out, and like everybody, all of my friends, and I remember listening to it on the school bus going to school, and I felt like I was getting away with something. You know, you felt like you were listening to something like so taboo, and the fact that he didn't. And again, I was too young to know. Too young to put together that Dice was a character, and I think we talked about it on another occasion where those character comedians from the 80s, like the Bobcat Goldthwaits, the Emo Phillips, and there were all these like characters that were portraying a certain thing on stage, but they weren't really that person. And I thought Dice was the real deal. I thought he was really like this like guy, not and I guess in a sense he was, but I got into his first album and nothing after that. I think he has that first album, that first special that's really great, but never lived up to it afterwards. And then, after The Adventures of Ford Fairlane came out, I think his stock really went down with people that were into him at the time. And, I saw him do stand-up. A friend of mine bought tickets to like a comedy club, small comedy club on Long Island. Maybe 2006, and it was just kind of like, eh. So I don't think he stands the test of time. Dennis Rodman. Ugh. Yeah, Don Rickles, of course, gets I mean, and I think I spoke last time. I should have went to see, a friend of mine offered to see with me Don Rickles and Joan Rivers in Atlantic City, and I should have went. I didn't. I regret it. Not a Doug Stanhope fan. I mean, I don't really know. I feel like maybe Doug Stanhope from 15, 18 years ago, but not now. Not now. It's just Doug Stanhope doesn't do it for me. But I know he's got his audience, but it's not for me. Yeah, the Tyson cartoon is funny, like for a couple episodes, but I would never get that invested in it. But yeah, Norm as the bird, as the pigeon, makes that whole thing. Yeah, Stan. I don't know. Stan. Yeah, I kind of agree that Stanhope sucks, but I'm afraid to say that because I don't know enough about him. Because I think when you say somebody sucks, you have to be really studied in that person to know that they definitively suck. And I don't know Doug Stanhope enough to say that he sucks, but I kind of am leaning towards that. I don't get it. Yeah, Steve Martin, of course, but Steve Martin, before my time, and also, but I've heard his albums and he was fantastic, and it's frustrating that he never returned to stand-up again. I wish there was a really good recording of some of his stand-up, because even his albums are very heavily edited and stuff, the stand-up albums that he did do. Joe Rogan I can't stand. I hate him, I hate his comedy, I hate his podcast. I hate all of Joe Rogan's guys too. Can't listen to him. Even if there's somebody, there used to be a point in time where Rogan would have a guest that comes on the podcast that normally doesn't go anywhere. Like, oh, I'll listen to this because this person doesn't get interviewed a lot. Like, I remember when he had Edward Norton in a couple of years ago. I tuned into that. I was like, All right, I am interested to see what he has to say, but just listening to Rogan's voice and his whole pseudo, he thinks he's so smart and he's just a big, no, not a big, but like a tiny dummy. Just can't get into him. Yeah, I tried watching the Joe Matarese porcelain interview, and I saw it posted. I was really excited about it, and I started watching it. I got like 20 minutes into it, and I was like, ooh. I think porcelain's kind of ruining the bit a little bit with Joe. I think it went on way too long. It was way too long. I didn't see the whole thing. I think I bailed at about 47 minutes in, maybe longer than that. But I just felt like, I don't know. I felt sorry for Joe in a way, like where it was just like, he's not. Like he kept saying like how the documentary that Porcelain did was an intervention with him, but. I don't know. It's just... Yeah, Mumbles, I not only read Steve Martin's Born Standing Up, but I also listened to the audiobook, and he's the exception to somebody talking about his craft. Yeah, he's the exception. It's a great book. Where it was just great. One of my favorite books of the past decade. I think it came out 2008, so more than a decade, but really a great read. And then a few years after that, I listened to the audiobook, and it was just great. I really, to hear his whole journey into comedy, and it's particularly focusing on his stand-up, really fantastic. Because he's a genius. It's one thing hearing these fucking hack losers on their shit podcast talking about their alleged craft, but then here you got a real genius who, actually did something with his life talking about it. It's a different thing. So no, he doesn't care. Not a Bill Hicks fan. Never. I always thought Bill Hicks was tremendously overrated. Tremendously overrated. Yeah, I agree with you on Bob Newhart. It would be cool to see him back in the day. And yeah, the Porcelain Matarese thing, it's just like, I felt like the interview was so long, and I didn't see it. I couldn't finish it. But it was more like, and the thing about Porcelain is he's kind of a pussy when it comes to these interviews. He's scathing in the documentary, which is great. But then he's like Mr. Nice Guy with the thing, and it's just like, I don't really want it. I felt like it, not only was it bad, because I was excited when it first came out, but then I'm like, well, now you've kind of minimized the effects of that documentary that was so good. That's my opinion anyway. I don't know what other people think. Tig Notaro? Oh, yeah. I just found out this comment. Yeah, she's fucking awful. Yeah, Joe, I was a SNL fan growing up to a certain point. I think the first time I saw it was like the mid-'80s, right before Phil Hartman and Dana Carvey and Kevin Nealon came around. And then when I was old enough to watch it kind of regularly, like I was still young, but I was old enough to maybe stay up late on Saturday nights. It was like late 80s, and that was my favorite period of Saturday Night Live for me. Late 80s, early 90s, with Dennis Miller, Dana Carvey, Phil Hartman, Kevin Nealon, John Lovitz, Jan Hooks, Victoria Jackson, and then early 90s when they brought in younger guys like the Chris Farleys, Rob Schneider, Sandler, David Spade, probably through 93, and then fell out with it a little bit when they had the new quote-unquote new cast in like 95-ish, like with Will Ferrell. I never got into that, and then but stayed for Norm. I basically only watch Weekend Update, and then as I've said, when Norm got fired, I was out. I've never heard of Patrick Michael. Is your favorite? I've never heard of him. Yeah, did you actually see that shit movie? I heard them talking about it on Red Bar Hero. I didn't. By the way, I didn't realize that zombie movie, that Netflix zombie movie, that Chris D'Elia was actually in it, and they digitally eliminated him, and then had Tig Notaro replace him. I thought that they just recast it and filmed it like last summer. I had no idea. No idea that that whole thing. Is what a Price is Right ding sound? What about Dan Barney? I have some Prices Right sound. I want to put up Prices Right sound on that offer accepted Chiron and stuff. I'll get around to that. I wanted to make a bunch of Prices Right sound. Mr. Show I really like. Hit and miss, hit and miss. Some good ones, some not so good ones. But mostly great. Loved it when it was on. Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, the Mike Myers, Dana Carvey years. Yeah, again, early 90s. Like late 80s, early 90s for me. Yeah, I don't know about the Stern Joe Rogan conflict. I know they Rogan went on Stern early, and then he went on to, and then because he was burnt by Stern, he started going on Opie and Anthony, and he claims that Rogan claims that Opie and Anthony is what inspired him to do his podcast. Is there a thing that keeps dinging? I'm not hearing that. Let me. It might be the Skype that's still open from Perry. I don't know, my speaker's turned on. I do have Prices Right sound effects, but I'd be surprised if that was coming from anywhere. Jerry Seinfeld stand-up, yeah, he's okay. You know, he's very good. I mean, you can't say anything bad about Seinfeld. I mean, he's very good. But you know, and Leno too. Leno's fucking awesome stand-up. But they're of a different ilk. They're of a different generation. But the thing about Leno is he's a robot. He's a comedy robot. He's a stand-up Terminator. I mean, all he does is write jokes and just goes on. Even when he had the Tonight Show, all he would be about is that monologue, which you respect. He's just got an incredible work ethic. Yeah, Bill Maher. I'm not a fan of Bill Maher. Dave Chappelle, yeah, but I'm not that big of a Chappelle guy where I know all of his stuff. Like, but I do like him when I've seen him. But I don't think. Let me know if that ding is still going on. I don't hear it. I never saw Run Ronnie Run. For whatever reason, I just could never get into it. Oh, it could be this. That was the thing I used to play. Let me close that out. Yeah, I mean, I like Chappelle when I've seen him, but I don't go out of my way to see every special, or I've never seen him live. I'm not seeing any comedian that makes you that makes you lock your phone away. I'm not doing that. He's one of those guys that like makes you, like, you go to see him or Rogan, they like, you gotta put your phone in like a zip bag that they keep. And I used to do that because I used to see movie screenings when I would write reviews for film. I was like entertainment journalist, and I would do film reviews, and when they do press screenings for movies, not all movies, but like the bigger ones, they would make you check in your phone, and I would always have this flip phone on me, this old flip phone, like from years ago, and I would just give it to them, and I'd just walk in the theater with my regular phone, and then I'd have it out. I'd be like looking at it and stuff right before the movie. No one ever said anything. And then if I didn't want to wait online, like to get the phone after, it would be such a piece of shit that I'd be like, yeah, just keep it. Carrot Top, I don't. I only know Punchline Carrot. I only know Carrot Top from like seeing him on Carson here and there. I've never seen his actual stand up, but. Yeah, Rogan said that he saw Cumia singing karaoke with a gun in his own compound, and remembered how O&A was just like a hangout with friends, which is kind of bullshit, because I think that's kind of a dig on Stern. Because O&A really, their whole Dog and Pony show was based off the Stern show, back when the Stern show was great. So to credit them solely is a bit ridiculous. Yeah, but I do have sound effects, and that's driving me crazy. Now I do have sound effects set up on my computer, like their Prices Right sounds. Like, so it could very well have been. It could have been an error thing. I had my speakers off because I don't want to hear myself fed back. Does anybody here actually actively listen to Rogan? Like, are there actual Rogan fans in here? I don't know. Basically, any comedian you ask about, any comedian that you type about, like, what about this? I pretty much hate them. So, just to blanket, unless they're Norm Macdonald or Gilbert or anybody else that we talked about that gets a free pass, they suck, and I hate them, and I wish the worst for them. No, I don't know about that, but I just don't like them. I think they're terrible and cringe and awful and terrible, and mostly terrible people, too. Terrible human beings. Really awful people. You get a window into that. I think the worst thing comedians ever did were do podcasts, because you know, occasionally they slip and you get a window into just how mentally deficient and terrible they are as people, and a lot of them are so unself-aware that they let that stuff slip out. And I always think, like, any celebrity, whether you're a comedian or whatever, you should always have this aloof presence with your audience, and they shouldn't know everything about you. Like, I'm not going to listen to a comedian that does a podcast every week where they talk about their wife or whatever and their home life. You lose that mystique, that aura. You know, I want to see something like, that's why I like Norm. Is like, Norm has this aura to him. He has this, like, crazy, weird, like, you can't put your finger on it. It's like, oh, there's something intangible about him. He doesn't do a podcast every week talking about his, dating life, or his personal life, or how he had to go in his garage and repair something. I don't want to hear that. I don't give a shit. Out of This World or Charles in Charge? I'm gonna go with Out of This World, because Out of This World has Burt Reynolds as the voice, and plus it's such a stupid gimmick where the girl could freeze time. And I had a crush on that girl. I forget her name. But Charles in Charge has its moments. But Out of This World, any day of the week. And Small Wonder over both of them. You thought Weird Al was over it? Yeah, I can see why you say that, but you got to give Weird Al a lot of credit. He's been doing the same thing for like 40 years. Really impressive career resume, and I have a good friend that works with him when he tours, and there's some people you hear about that are, I've just heard nothing but amazing things about Weird Al. Just like personal stories that she shared with me, like things that he's done for people that work for him. Super generous, super cool, super approachable. That goes a long way. So, and plus I love UHF, so I like him a lot. Thanks, Mr. Pasty. See you on Sunday. Good night. Do you really think Joey Diaz ever had a good podcast? Ooh, I can't imagine that. Adam Carolla. Yeah, I can't listen to Carolla's voice. I hate his voice. I've heard his podcast. It's okay. Like, not recently, but in the past, like, it's okay. But he's got that voice that just, it grates on me. I can't do it. I can't listen to him. And Joey Diaz always sounds like he's half asleep. Like he's like high, like there's these people that, like, they go on and they're stoned out of their mind, or they're drugged up, they're on whatever, and they're like half asleep, and like who wants to fucking listen to that? Who wants to watch that? Joey D, it's like he's got that thing where it's like he's constantly in the need to clear his throat, and it's just these fucking lazy loser comedians that just go on like half glazed out of their mind, and like they have the arrogance to think that people are going to tune in and watch them because there's some master of ceremony. Like, you're not. You're not. You have to earn that, and you're not that. But some people, like everybody, even these shitty comedians, they always have their loyalists, and I don't think the loyalists can see the forest through the trees, or see these people for what they really are. And they're supporting them because they've always supported them, but they don't really look at it and analyze them in a way where, like, oh yeah, this guy kind of sucks now. But every shitty comedian and their shitty podcast has a small, not small, sometimes they're big, group of like, simps or loyalists that get a little nauseating. And like you just, it's like you want to shake them. Like, well, why do you listen to this? How can you support this person? Ari Shaffir is god awful too. I didn't see his stand up. I've seen Ari live just by happenstance. I didn't go out of my way to see him. Just like he was at the same place that I was at, and I saw, and I liked him, although I wouldn't go out of my way for him. But I didn't know about his Netflix special. But I hate all those comedies. I really don't like any of those comedy, like the West Coast Comedy Store people. Just, ugh. They're all terrible. Yeah, I get it. I mean, you're probably right. I mean, I'm talking about seeing him like years ago, like 6-7 years ago. So I can imagine that he's not great. Plus, I really think that whole Kobe thing was so stupid last year, and then he doubled like. And then what really annoys me about him is he did this thing where he had this like running gag where any celebrity who died, he like would record some kind of message about how he was happy that they died because, and then he'd give a list of gags that, oh, you did this, and now you're getting your comeuppance, and he did it with Kobe, and obviously it backfired majorly. And he had to basically disappear and do this. And then time passed, and then he went back to it. And then he started doing it again. He started doing the thing. I'm like, oh, no, Ari, sorry, you can't do that anymore. That bit's over for you. You ruined it. And you ran away, and now you can't go. So seeing him now, like, do that stuff, it's just, ugh. It's weird. Is Doug Benson the guy getting Doug with High that show comes from? Because I don't know him at all. I think Perry's over the stand-up thing. I can't imagine getting Perry to do anything prepared is torture, because I've tried to get him to do segments on the streams. Perry, what do you want to talk about? I like him to open the stream talking about something, and I'll work that out with him. I'll be like, what do you want to talk about? Well, Bozo Biden. Hey, let's not get political. I don't want to do political. He'll go off on that. And then, so, I don't know. Like, even tonight, it's like, name 5 people that he'd like to interview. It's a struggle. So, I don't know. This format works for him. I don't know about him. Thing. And that's the whole thing. Yeah, the Doug's thing is, I smoke weed. These fucking weed comics are the worst. Where their whole thing is based around fucking weed, and they're just stoned. Who the fuck wants to watch a guy get stoned? Or is stoned? Because they're not concentrating. What's worse, Joe Rogan comedy or the UCB comedy scene? Yeah, UCB is pretty much worse than anything. Pretty much worse than anything. I was dating a girl a number of years ago that did the UCB thing, and I had to go. It's like she was taking an improv course, and it was just so beyond cringe. And you had to go and watch their workshops, and I did it once to be supportive, and it was unbearable. It was unbearable. So that's where improv is the word. Improv is there's talented people that can do improv and incorporate it into other areas of comedy, which is great. But improv for the sake of improv is fucking horrendous. It's maybe the worst thing ever. Yeah, I was dating a girl. And Will Ferrell's a guy I've talked about that before. I'm not on the Will Ferrell bandwagon either. I don't get him. But he's made me laugh on occasion, but overall, I'm not a Will Ferrell guy. What's your least, aside from the people we mentioned, who's your least favorite person in comedy? Like a person that either is a comic or has a podcast that you can't get over how they even do it. They make you angry. Like they make you angry. Like the sight of them, their name typed out makes you angry. Somebody that we haven't mentioned, aside from the Rogans and all that, like who do you really hate? Okay, Rogan, yes, we know Rogan. But like it sees, like you like they'll come across in social media or something like that, and you're like, ooh, this fucking person. Hannah Gadsby, I totally get that. That's a good one. Yeah, pretty much any female comic, right? I can't think of anyone that's good. I hate that Nikki Glazier and Whitney comic. Ooh, yeah, Whitney's fucking horrible. Opie, that's a good one. Trevor Noah, yeah, does he even count? Gabriel Iglesias. Brennan Schaub, Tony Hinchcliffe, Sam Roberts, all terrible. Neil Brennan, fucking awful. Agreed. Definitely agree on Tony Hinchcliffe. Oh, he's so fucking bad. Any rich, phony, neoliberal comic, yeah. Pretty much, let's just say any comic. We'd have a harder time naming good comics. Stuttering John, I don't think you can call that comedy. I know he fashions himself as a stand-up, but he's awful. Nick DiPaolo is so bad. Yeah, it's funny. I used to like Nick DiPaolo kind of when he was on Stern. Like he'd do the news on Stern like 20 years ago, and I thought he was okay, but man, is he fucking bad. But all these people have their audiences. The only good comedy today is Perry and TomB. Funniest comedy movie? That's a good question. Amy Schumer, yeah, I feel like she's fallen out. Like you don't really see her. Yeah, she's fucking terrible. There was a thing like maybe 10 years ago where Amy Schumer was where she actually was breaking through, and she had that show on Comedy Central, and she was in movies and stuff. I'm glad that era's over. I think she's finally kind of gone away a little bit. But boy, oh boy, yeah, she's fucking bad. How about, here's a different question. A comedian that you liked, like legitimately, like the Nick DiPaolo thing made me think of this. Somebody that you liked and listened to, or maybe you went to see them live, or you listened to their podcast, or whatever. You liked them peripherally. You watched YouTube videos, and you liked them at one point in time, and it could have been 10 years ago, 20 years ago, and now you can't stand them. Like somebody you turned on. You tried Red Bar 4 times because of me, and he sucked. No, he doesn't suck. Red Bar is very good, but it's not for you. That's cool. There's a lot of things that it's not your thing. That's cool. I don't like the karaoke shit. I agree with you. He yells. You got to give it more time than that. Red Bar does like. That's why I can't listen live. I got to be able to fast forward past the karaoke shit. I don't find that funny. Oh, really, Hero? You turned on Dave Chappelle? That's interesting. Bill Burr, I totally understand with. Bill Burr was actually pretty decent 10 years ago. He's fucking horrible now. Corolla got old. I never liked Corolla, but yeah. Louis C.K. I never liked, but I totally get that. That's Stern, yeah, obviously Stern. He's probably the best example. Stern's unlistenable. He's just so bad, and it's so sad. Rogan, how did you ever like Diaz, though? That's the thing. How did anybody ever like Joey Diaz? So these are people that you liked at one point. Yeah, Stephen Colbert I could totally see. When Stephen Colbert played that character really well, he was somewhat funny, but now he's awful. Kevin Smith, I never liked him, but Jimmy Kimmel, I could see that. Jimmy's fucking horrible. He's just such a woke sellout. Burr and Yeah, Burr and Patrice were great until you realize they married at the same people they ranted about. Anyone who can't handle Red Bar is a pleb and an R. Give them more time. Yeah, the thing like all these late night guys, they're all star fuckers. They're all corporate shills. They can't even be considered in that same conversation. Jimmy used to have this mean spiritedness towards him. Not like personally. I mean, I don't know him personally, but in the early shows that I liked. And I always like talk shows when they first start out, when you can't get the A-listers. But like he would have YouTube stars on and stuff like that, and that was kind of funny. But yeah, well, now it's terrible. I think all talk shows they have a very short life left. I'd be surprised if all three networks still had an active talk show 10 years from now. But maybe I'm wrong. You never know. Jackie the Joke Man. I never liked Jackie. Yeah, I'm very honest. I try to be. Especially here in After Hour. You know, you got to be honest. I don't like lying. I don't like lying because I'm too lazy to lie. I got enough things on my brain. And lying takes too much effort, especially if you're... And also, it hurts me to lie about saying I like somebody that I don't. So I'm not going to pretend to like somebody for the sake of, like, whatever. What the fuck do I gain out of it? Fucking Jimmy hasn't put any change in Perry's cup, so fuck him. To be bluntly honest. He knew exactly what was going on with Perry for the past number of years. Didn't do a fucking thing, so fuck him. Yeah, what will networks be? There was a thing today I read. Somebody said, what would networks be 10 years from now? Who knows? Because streaming has officially, I forget what it was. I think it was a Nielsen thing where they said for the first time ever, streaming has completely outpaced all networks, which is crazy. See, I like Jackie the Joke Man. I like Jackie when he was the subject of Howard going off on him. I like Jackie Jackie was a good writer on the Stern Show. Like he'd write, and you'd always tell when Jackie's jokes came up because he would laugh really hard. But yeah. You have a feeling there's a large underground comedy scene. What about Don Barris? What about him? Letterman. Yeah, Letterman got weird towards the end. Oh, I disagree that Red Bar is high and Mersh. I think he's better than that. Mersh is. I mean, I never knew Mersh until listening to Red Bar, but I can't even hate watch it. He's so bad, and I hate his voice. Again, it comes down to a voice guy. But Jackie's stand-up is just like Jackie Martling is just fucking jokes, like hack jokes, like dirty jokes. It's like you might as well just get a joke book. Why do you pay somebody? I don't like Sal and Richard. I think they're fucking terrible. But I don't know them now. I stopped listening to. I haven't listened to the Stern Show since 2015. Sarah Silverman's always bad. I think Sarah Silverman's gotten worse because you could respect her because she was kind of avant-garde in a way, I guess you could say, but now she's like fucking woke just like everybody else. Shuli, I don't know. I've never heard his stand-up or anything like that. I liked Shuli on the Stern Show. I liked Shuli when he was a caller. Because I remember when he would call in, and he'd be a very creative caller. He's one of those guys that like worked his way into the staff back when the show was still good, and he'd call in with games and stuff, and he'd craft things, and he was a very good caller. And then when Stern went to Sirius, and he was like a Howard 100 News correspondent, it didn't work. I don't think it was to his strength. But then he was assigned to like cover all Whack Packers, and I thought that he was good with that. He was good with like Underdog Lady and shit like that. But I don't know. So Shuley, I don't know. But I actually met Shuley. He was cool, and he knew who I was. He was a fan of like Perry stuff. I think he watches Perry Caravello live too. I have on good authority. So, and I know he left the Stern show. So, Buddy Hackett, I don't know Buddy Hackett stuff as well. I remember seeing a stand-up special when I was really young on HBO or something like that, but yeah, so I don't know, but he was one of the early dirty comics. Not into. I was never a Cheech and Chong guy, but I watched their movies and stuff. But I was never a pot guy, so I just that whole pot humor thing, I'm just not into. What's the deal? So Bob Odenkirk, why does he suck now? I know he's like super uber left and everything, but I mean he's still great acting wise. He's still great in Better Call Saul. I didn't see that movie he came out with. I think it's called Nobody. People recommended that. So I like Odenkirk a lot, like just as an actor, but as a comic guy, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you know more than I do. I only know his acting stuff. Yeah, I heard that. I heard a lot of people say Nobody is really good. I haven't been able to see it, but is it on streaming or something? I know it was in theaters, and I just saw today. I think it was today or yesterday that they commissioned a Nobody 2, so they're going to do a sequel. Yeah, I'm interested to see why Odenkirk sucks now. Jesus. Because he always made me laugh, and I think he's proved himself as a real good dramatic actor as well. He's got a lot of range. Well, that's good. It's on Pirate Bay streaming. I don't do Pirate Bay. No, I don't like Tim and Eric. But that's not to say I'm not into Tim and Eric. I just was never exposed to them. I think I was a little too old for Tim and Eric, or they just, I wasn't paying attention to comedy when they came around. So no, I kind of hate Robin Williams too, Joe. I'm kind of with you. I always found Robin Williams really annoying, especially on talk shows, and I find him extremely overrated. But there's some good things he did. I remember when he passed away, I happened to be at that Dump, the comedy store, and people were like taking pictures in front of that like shitty neon sign that they have. Like it was a big deal, and somebody was like, "Oh, do you want a picture?" I'm like, "No, I don't give a flying fuck." I felt bad that he died. It's always sad when somebody like kills himself, but it wasn't the biggest fucking deal in the world to me. I didn't know that there was a new Gidget. Is there a new Gidget? Oh, you mean the new Gidget like from the 80s? I don't remember it. I'm as old as you. Cheech and Chong was weed comedy. I might not like it for stoners. California Legally could have brought in a ton of great weed comedy shows. Yeah, but I know like people like rent it. Like remember when like, if you're the same age as me, I didn't grow up with cable right away. Like in Brooklyn didn't have cable. I didn't have cable until I was like a little older when I moved, and going to the video store was a big deal. and you'd browse around, and maybe if like you're having a sleepover with your friends, you'd go to the comedy section. I always go to the horror section of the comedy section, and you judge everything by the box. And the Cheech and Chong movies always had very interesting box art. And a friend of mine, like, rented one, but I didn't know. It was over my head. Like, I didn't know anything about weed or anything. I was a kid, so that stuff didn't really get with me. I didn't really connect with it, and I never saw it as an adult. So I remember seeing the Cheech Marin movie. I don't think anybody ever saw it. I think it was the only person to see this movie in the theater, because like a friend of mine and I snuck into it after we saw something else. I forget what we saw. It was called Born in East LA, and it was like not a Cheech and Chong movie, and it wasn't a weed movie. So that I kind of like that as a kid, but yeah, people love, like, they revere Robin Williams like he's just great, but like, what are his great movies? I like Good Morning Vietnam. It's okay, even though it's a bit of a soapbox movie platform for him. I think Good Will Hunting is atrociously overrated, not that good. I think Dead Poets Society is drivel, dressed up as something else. I know he got didn't he get a nomination for that, or was it Good Morning Vietnam? I'm trying to think. I like Mrs. Doubtfire. I think that's legitimately funny, or was at the time. I'm trying to think, like, what was the great Robin Williams movie? I like Aladdin, the first Aladdin, the Disney. He's great, even though as a voiceover person, as a person who has made a living doing voiceover work, I look at Aladdin as the movie that really killed it for professional voiceover people in terms of animation in feature films, because his casting in Aladdin, as perfect as it is, heralded in this this mindset that now, once that movie became a hit and he was great in it, and now take all the Disney, not all of them, but take a couple of Disney movies that came before Aladdin. There was Beauty and the Beast, and there was The Little Mermaid. Those were cast with professional voiceover people for the main roles. There would be some C-list people in like sub roles, but the main characters were, the voice is what was important, and especially if there was singing involved. Broadway people, whatever. Then once Robin Williams became huge in Aladdin, the next movie was The Lion King, and it was just wall to wall celebrity. Everybody. Then after that, forget about it. Every single animated feature that comes out has celebrity voices that you recognize, and I always resent that as a voiceover person myself, and people that I know that do voiceover. You don't get those opportunities to, even now, even like TV, anything animated, you have to have some recognizable voice, and they're not even that great voiceover people. They just, they're just famous for that minute where they cast the movie. 1 Hour Photo I remember kind of liking in a way, and it was cool, but I don't think I'd revisit it. Popeye is awful. Ooh, I saw that in the theater. It's terrible. But I could see why people like it as a guilty pleasure. I can see why you'd say John Belushi is overrated. I almost feel that way. But then again, I'm talking as somebody who's never seen Animal House. So, and I'm not as astute in original Saturday Night Live as other people are. I've only seen the sketches that are really popular and like get played on clip shows. I've never seen like full episodes of Saturday Night Live from the first 5 years. It's just nothing. Death to Smoochie, that's a movie I haven't. Remember that? What was that terrible movie? I think it was it Father's Day with Billy Crystal and Robin Williams, and I think it was the first movie or one of the first movies that came out that bombed, and both guys like never really recovered. Like both guys were like, it was a real takedown for both guys. They were like, like Billy Crystal was big, like he hosted the Academy Awards. He had City Slickers. He had a couple other things, and then they both did that movie, and boy, was it like a major bomb. I went on a date once with a girl like years ago that loved Robin Williams, and we got in an argument about Robin Williams on the date. This is reminding me, and she said at the time, I say, "What's your favorite movie? Like name me a good Robin Williams movie." And she goes, "Patch Adams." And I laughed at it in her face. I was like, "Patch Adams," and this girl was like, she was cute. She had like huge boobs and everything, and I just blew it up. And like I was just, Patch Adams is fucking horrible. And then she was coming up with all these other like movies that were like Robin Williams. I was like, that's horrible. That's horrible. You've not named one good movie. He's horrible. And like she's like, you're an asshole. And I was like, well, you're. I was like, you like Robin Williams? You're a moron. I was like, I tried to recover from it. I was like, let's talk about something else. And we moved on to something else, but we never recovered from that argument about Robin Williams. And it was just like, and I remember she sent me a text like the next day, and she's like, I don't think I want to see you again. I don't think we're gonna work out. I was like, and I just wrote back, I go, Robin Williams fucking sucks. And that was it. I was so mad that I went out. She was cute too, but man, it's just like the Robin Williams thing. I just couldn't get past it. Death to Smoochie, is that with Edward Norton? I never saw it. But I know it's a notorious bad movie. You think PCL Belushi is funnier? I agree with you. Belushi Sushi is definitely funnier to me than John Belushi. He's super creative. He's one of my absolute favorites. So fucking funny. No, the real Patch Adams hated the movie too. I didn't realize that was based on a real story. Yeah, that's the thing. Base Tommy should have passed on the post. I don't know if I would have gotten any poon from that girl, but yeah, it was one of those things where I just like I should have probably shut my mouth. I'd be like, yeah, Robin Williams is great. I love him. He's wonderful. I love everything he does. He's great on talk shows. I love Mork and Mindy, but man, I just couldn't do it. Can I play a 3-minute Bob Odenkirk clip? Yeah, I think I could do that. And then I gotta go. Wait, so is your thing with Bob Odenkirk that you just want him to go back to comedy and he's too caught up in being like an actor? Is that what your thing is? Is that I can get that even though, but Bob Odenkirk's so fucking. I mean, I think he's one of those few people that can do. There's very few people that can do comedy and drama equally as good. Oh, you want to see him do comedy skits again? Okay, I get that. Did you like the they did on Netflix about I don't know 4 years ago? It wasn't called Mr. Show, but it was like Bob and Dave something, and they kind of did a Mr. Show type thing for Netflix. I thought it was okay. It was like a limited series. I thought it was okay. I thought there were some skits that were pretty good. Yeah, we're gonna definitely do Double Team on Discord. I forgot all about it, and then when I read that description, I was like, oh my god, we have to watch this all together with Bob and David. Yeah, it was funny. Yeah, Bill Murray's funny. I think he gets a little too much credit, to be honest with you. I think Bill Murray's very lazy, like Norm is. I mean, some of the best comics are kind of lazy, personally. I don't know if I love late era Bill Murray. I don't think he's done anything lately that's done anything for me. Oh, I never heard of the Birthday Boys. Yeah, Chevy Chase is supposed to be real jerk. Chevy Chase, like, very few people that you will hear talk good about Chevy Chase. He is supposed to be a notorious asshole. But again, some of the assholes are really funny. I like a lot of Chevy Chase stuff. Chevy Chase is great through a certain period. I think there's always a movie, like these guys, there's always a movie that like takes you off your pedestal and you can never recover from. I think for Chevy Chase it was The Invisible Man. I think up until that point, you gave him a chance, and then I don't think he ever recovered from that. I don't think he ever did anything good after that. Maybe in bit parts here and there, but he was done at that point. And that was like 1992 when that came out. Because I remember that movie, I wanted to like it. I remember I saw it on when it came on video. The movie with Jack Palance and Robert Davi. It was called Cops and Robbersons, where Jack Palance, again, it's a gimmicky movie because obviously it was made as a feature thing. Because once Jack Palance got that revival after City Slickers, where he was this tough older guy, Jack Palance is like this gruff cop that shacks up with Chevy Chase and his family because they're spying on a drug dealer across the street or next door or something. And I wanted to like it because I like the premise and I like the cast, but it's pretty bad. I like the first Fletch movie. The second movie, not so much. I forget why Stern hated Chevy Chase. I think, I remember. There was a series of phone calls with Chevy Chase in the early 90s on the Stern Show that Richard Belzer was a guest on Stern, and they actually called Chevy once to patch it up, and Chevy got on the phone and they had this notorious famous fight on the phone. I remember listening to it live and I'll never forget it. It's where Chevy gets on the phone they call Chevy's home and his housekeeper answers, and Stern was fucking around with his housekeeper. Then Chevy gets on the phone and starts going like I don't know you, I don't like you, I don't find you funny, and then it turned into this whole thing where Chevy Chase would go on Larry King, and there'd be a crank call from a Howard Stern person, and he'd have to talk, and then there was this whole tape on Larry King back in this is going a little too deep, but back when people would have giant satellite dishes, you could get a show like Larry King and get the satellite feed that, let's say, if Chevy Chase was on via satellite, you can get his dedicated feed and you could hear him talking in between commercials. And somebody recorded that and gave it to Stern, of course, and they played it all the time, where Chevy was mumbling to himself during the commercial breaks, and he was like, he's just not funny. He's just not funny. I don't get this, Howard. And then, of course, years and years later, now they're best friends, and fucking Howard invited him to his wedding. Which is just, I was pretty much out by that point. Yeah, Jack Palance also did one-arm push-ups at the Academy Awards, right? Which was right after City Slickers, and I always liked Jack Palance. Oh yeah, I always Sunny in Philadelphia. I actually thought about that the other night when some people were asking me about comedy. Always Sunny in Philadelphia up until a certain point. The past few seasons have been a little too woke for me, where the characters are evolving and they're not as assholey or oblivious to their terrible behavior. That I don't like. But Always Sunny has a great run. I mean, it's still fucking great. Not that it's still great, it's the current seasons are great, but you can't deny it being good. But I'll still watch it. The next season, it's renewed for however. I like the fact that it's the longest running sitcom and everything. I really like it. But as with everything else, that when you take comedy characters that are supposed to be unself-aware and terrible people and you try to evolve them, it doesn't really work for me. But I understand it. Yeah, I love Mac too. I don't know if I like out of the closet Mac. I kind of liked it when the joke was that he was clearly gay but didn't want to acknowledge it. You know what I mean? I love that. I don't know. But then again, if a show goes on for long enough and these asshole characters that were in their late 20s, early 30s are now in their deep into their 40s, I guess maybe you have to evolve them to some point. I just don't have to like it. Oh, if you got burnt out at season 6, you still have a lot of good Always Sunny seasons to look forward to. It's really solid up until about season. I don't know. I can't say because I don't. I was gonna say season 11, but I don't know if that's true. I feel like the last 2 seasons were definitely weak, but it's still really good. If you've never seen It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, it's definitely worth it. but it's still great. You know, I like the fact that it's still current. It's still on the air. Okay, 12 maybe. Yeah, I think it starts in 11, but 12 is where it dips, and then I forget where we're at now. Yeah, Chevy Chase is you can list the good Chevy Chase movies. There's first of all, I like I like the movie Foul Play with Chevy Chase and Goldie Hawn, and it's the movie that made him leave Saturday Night Live, so it's famous for that. But it's actually, I don't know, I like that movie a lot. It's I remember seeing it on like local TV when I was a kid, and I saw it again. It's got a very interesting cast. That Burgess Meredith is in it. Dudley Moore is in it before Dudley Moore was really super famous for a movie actor. It's good, and then the vacation movies, particularly the first two. First Vacation, rated R, European Vacation, still good. I'm gonna go out and say something that probably a lot of people don't agree with. I don't like Christmas Vacation as much. I think it's very overrated, and then Vegas Vacation's trash. But Fletch, the first Fletch movie, and Funny Farm is great too. Funny Farm's a very underrated Chevy Chase movie. I think Funny Farm's fantastic. He's not Goldie Hawn's ex-husband. He's a private detective that is protecting Goldie Hawn from something. I forget the ins and outs of the plot. And yeah, Nothing But Trouble has its thing. Grease 2 is better than Grease. I almost agree with you because my sister loved Grease 2 when that came out. Like I think it was on. When that wasn't on cable because we didn't have cable, but we had it on VHS or something like that. And her and her friends would do it. I knew Grease 2 more than Grease 1. And Michelle Pfeiffer is super hot in Grease 2. So yeah, okay, sure, Grease 2 is better than Grease 1. And I don't love What About Bob's fantastic. Maybe people say it's either that or Groundhog Day as far as Bill Murray's best for me. That's a great point. You feel like Christmas Vacation is only held up so high because people just want to say that they prefer it to A Christmas Story. I agree. Christmas Story is a better Christmas movie. It's just not as good. Again, it can't go in the same bag as it's just not in the same ilk as the first Vacation or even the second. It's just not the same. It's like Back to the Future trilogy. I hate when people say all three movies are as good. It's not. The first movie's a masterpiece. The other two are okay epilogues, but they're not necessary. Oh Heavenly Dog, I've never seen that. And I never saw Under the Rainbow, which I've always wanted to see. It's a Chevy Chase movie with Carrie Fisher, and it's about the production of The Wizard of Oz with a bunch of little people. And it's basically how all the little people in A Wizard of Oz, all the people that play the Munchkins were just drunk and out of control. I don't agree with Stripes as Bill Murray's best, and I'll tell you why. Stripes is only good for the first half of the movie. Stripes is great right up until like all the basic training stuff. Once they go to Europe, that movie stinks. Stripes completely loses me when they're in. Yeah, it's still okay. But all the good Stripe stuff is at the beginning, and the training stuff. Once they actually have to go out into the field, the movie completely loses me. And plus, it's more of an ensemble. But, yeah. Still haven't seen Blues Brothers. I will one of these days. Scrooge is a good Christmas movie. I agree with that. You saw Under the Rainbow in the theater. That is fucking rare because that was an outlaw. I remember seeing commercials for it as a kid, and I wanted to see it because the commercials look good. Wow. That and like Heartbeats with Andy Kaufman. I remember seeing commercials for it as a kid. I was like, oh, I really want to see these movies, but they were both notorious bombs that didn't last long. I've never known anybody that saw that in the theater. That's amazing. That's a good comparison, Clutch Canuck. Stripes is like Full Metal Jacket. Awesome beginning, dies down later. Yeah. Really, the best part of Full Metal Jacket, you can turn Full Metal Jacket off after the first 27 minutes. Basic training is all you need to see. Turn it off after that. Although it's still a good movie, but it's like Stripes. It's like, I almost want to turn it off after a certain point once they get into that super tank thing. It's like it's just not. It's just it turns into a different movie. I feel like the first and second half of Stripes are written by two different people. What do you come on? What's come on, man? Is that because I haven't seen the Blues Brothers, or because you disagree with my Stripes take? There's still a couple episodes of it was an RV. Okay, right. Yeah, right. That's right. Yeah, it was the RV. I haven't seen it in a while. It's a better. I think that it's a better movie than the second half of Stripes, not the first half. The better movie that's kind of like the second half of Stripes, but I think does it better, is Spies Like Us with Dan Aykroyd and Chevy Chase. I think Spies Like Us is very underrated, and I remember seeing it as a kid and not really getting it, and then seeing it later as an adult and loving it. I want to watch Spies Like Us right now just talking about it. It's directed by Frank Oz. I think Aykroyd and Chase are great in it together. I think they've got great chemistry. I think it's funny. It's a funny fucking movie straight through. And I don't hear too many people talking about it, but I really love Spies Like Us as another great Chevy Chase movie. And Aykroyd, too. I think it's one of Aykroyd's best. Yes, Steve Horace is amazing in that. Yeah, Sergeant Holcomb makes that movie, but then they kind of emasculate him in that second half, which I also don't like. Sergeant Holcomb should have been a badass the entire movie. Oh, you've been watching Red Bar YouTube channel? By the way, Red Bar I think owes me some money. Like we've definitely been sending a lot of people their way that sign up for the premium service and everything. Yeah, I definitely agree with you, Hero. Spies Like Us, better for the first half, but I don't think the second half of Spies Like Us goes as far off base as Stripes does, or a movie like Stripes. I've never seen Heartbreak Ridge. If I'm not mistaken, I thought Spies Like Us was offered to Bill Murray first. I might have heard that wrong, and then it wasn't. Chevy Chase wasn't the first choice, but I can't see Bill Murray in that movie. Obviously Chevy Chase is great in it. And Bob Hope actually has a pretty funny cameo in Spies Like Us. You hated City Slickers? It's been so long since I've seen it. I like City Slickers 2, The Legend of Curly's Gold, not because it's a good movie, but just because I like really shitty comedy sequels, and that's about as shitty as they come. It's cringeworthy, but I'll watch City Slickers 2 over City Slickers any day of the week. Never saw the Whoopi Boys. Yeah, I saw that thing for Metroid. Is it called Metroid 5? Is it technically Metroid 5? What's after? So my Metroid playing is very limited. I only ever played the original Metroid, of course, for NES, and I played Super Metroid. What came after that? What's 3 and 4? Now, not counting Metroid Prime. I tried playing Metroid Prime. I could never get into it. What's Metroid 4, 3 and 4? Are they like DS games or something? And are they considering this the fifth mainline Switch game? I'm definitely going to get it. It looks cool. It looks a little too flashy to me, like Flash animation, like one of those. It looks like a smartphone game. I hope they firm up the graphics a little bit, but it looks good. Yeah, Metroid Dread. Three Kings is very underrated. I agree with you here. Really good. That's really good. One of the few Clooney movies that I like. Romancing the Stone versus Raiders of the Lost Ark. Oh my God. Can you imagine having that argument? Yeah, Raiders, of course, but Romancing the Stone is very good. Oh, Force. I've never. What was Fusion released on? Because again, I never was a portable fan. Oh, wait a second. Fusion is. Oh, you're confusing me now. Metroid for NES. Metroid 2. Oh, I see. There was Metroid 2 on Game Boy. I never played that. Then Super Metroid was the third. Metroid Fusion for Game Boy. Okay, I'd have to play those. I do love that first Metroid and Super Metroid. I wasn't into the 3D. It felt like Doom. Not I like Doom, but it felt like Metroid Doom. The Metroid Prime series. It was a little too intense for me. Okay, interesting. I'll check that out. Oh, here's another thing. I'll leave on. I'm gonna leave on this. But I don't like that Raiders Indiana Jones child molester thing. I've heard that before. I think that's not true. Um, yeah, I have emulator. I have like a blinged out Wii U with every emulator on it, and I just haven't had time to play it. But here's the thing. This is for Hero, because Hero actually we were talking about this, like I want to get this media room and I needed a TV for it, and then people were saying look at a projector, but now I'm hearing that if you get a projector it doesn't work well with games because there's all this latency. So are there does anybody out there have projectors like in a room that you can play games on that doesn't have incredible lag? I will do a hot tub stream eventually. If I ever get a hot tub, I'll do after hours in the hot tub. We couldn't do it at Perry's because his hot tub is disgusting and it wasn't working. It was like black. The water was like literally black. It was disgusting. I know the projectors kind of suck, but you can get a bigger image with the projectors. It's like I'm really torn. I'm really torn between getting like a big TV and a projector. And I've been researching both, but I mean, a lot of my thing is like I don't want to play the Switch and be playing Mario Kart and then get lag. I can deal with a little bit of lag, but I can't deal with like crazy lag. Yeah, I know what scene you're talking about, Chaz, but I don't. I mean, you're talking about whatever year that was. It was like 19. What year is the movie based in? Like 1939 or something like that. Come on. Yeah, there's like this LG laser projector that says they have very minimum lag, and I was looking at that. The other kind of bummer about projectors is they can't do Dolby Vision, and very few can do HDR 10 plus because they just can't get as bright as like a really, an LED or OLED TV can. Never saw Toxic Avenger. Never saw any of those movies. Never saw any of those. I never saw a Lloyd Kaufman movie, period. Is that what they're calling it? Is it calling it the Super Switch? Yeah, I'm good for the money. If there's a pre-order that comes on, get it, and I'll pay. Yeah, I really want the new Switch when it comes out. It definitely needs a more robust GPU and graphic. That's the one thing about Nintendo that's kind of annoying if you're a Nintendo fan. I like it, Super Switch. I think it's a great. They should call it that. Is that they don't care about like they're never going to be the bestest ever in terms of graphics. Like they're never going to compete with PlayStation and Xbox. But I think the last time Nintendo tried to compete in terms of like having a big robust system was maybe the GameCube. But after that, they just kind of said whatever. But now they play it too like it's too far. Like even as much as I like Super Mario Odyssey, I felt like it should have been more evolved past that in terms of graphic content. Like, it just wasn't. So a 4K Switch would be really cool. I know, Joe. I know, Joe. Joe says, "I can't believe you're still on. You're like Perry saying something isn't going to happen, and it happened. Impossible. Impossible. There's no fucking way I'm doing After Hours tonight. Impossible." And yet here we are. Yeah, I agree with you about Odyssey being perfect. It's just I don't know. I wanted it to pop a little more. I wanted it to be a little more crisp, and it just wasn't. Do I have a favorite AVGN episode? That's a good question. I like the Friday the 13th episode. I like the early ones. I don't like it when I'll tell you what I never liked about AVGN is when the production got. I mean, I respect it. He did some good stuff, but when there was a point with Angry Video Game Nerd where they definitely stepped up the production, and it became more like cinematic and like where they'd have like characters, and then it was more like scripted comedy rather than like trashing a game or a game review. And I prefer it when it was just like trashing. I feel the same way about Red Letter Media. If you watch that, like I like Half in the Bag, but I don't like the scripted comedy shit at the beginning and the end where they got to play this character. I mean, I get it. I do think it's funny, some of it, but I just want to see the commentary and the discussion on film, and I think it goes. For me, it doesn't play, but obviously, I might be in the minority. Good night to Musly. Yeah, and I also like the review of Castlevania 2: Simon's Quest. You stopped liking AVGN when he dumped his real friends and started working with those other idiots. I think that was a financial thing. I think that was like this company with those losers, like those idiots. Like I didn't care about them. Like those fat fucking retards with their like beards and shit. Like who are these people? And all of a sudden they're giving their opinions as if I care about them. But I think it was like some kind of like deal that he had. I don't know if that deal is still in place now, but I remember like, and then also I don't really respect his movie reviews at all. I think I've heard some of it. Like I think his opinions are terrible when it comes to movies, most of them. But then he'd do movie reviews with these other guys. I'm like, well, I definitely don't care about you. I don't. When you hear a movie review, it's got to be from somebody like your friend or somebody you respect. Yeah, the super obese dude with the glasses, awful. Yeah, I agree. AVGN needs to dump the crew and get back to Mike and Bootsy. I like the Bootsy. Bootsy, very rare to find a Bootsy one, but wasn't he? What was the game that Bootsy's really good at? Was it the that Toad game that he would be like? Oh my god, he was like a master at it. But yeah, that's what I like. I like the real friends on the stream on the channel, not these fake guys that who cares. I never saw Life Aquatic. Somebody said, Chad says that your favorite Bill Murray, Life Aquatic. Never. Oh no, wait, I did. Did I see it? God, I might have seen it and forgotten that I saw it. So maybe it's not that good. The obese guy with glasses has uncles in high places. Maybe you're right. Yeah, that would explain a lot. Um, no, I don't think I watch too much board game stuff. I know when it comes up, I'd never clicked on it, but and I like some of the Cinemassacre stuff when he does like horror movie reviews. I'll watch it, but I remember losing respect for him when he said his favorite Star Wars movie was like Return of the Jedi. I was like, ooh, all right. Well, Battletoads, that was it. Battletoads, yeah, that guy Bootsy was amazing at Battletoads, and Battletoads is one of the most notoriously difficult games. Like I've never gotten through it, and I've never gotten through. Jesus, I don't know how far I've gotten, but but he was doing it like amazing. Okay, so I should watch board games if I like Bootsy. I did like Bootsy. Okay, I'll check it out then. Yeah, I've never seen it. I've never seen any. I don't think I've seen any board games. And I liked the James and Mike Mondays too, where they just play a random game and talk about it. Like that was good too. So that's kind of a bummer that they don't do that anymore. So I like Mike a lot. I don't follow him on his own, but he did some good videos on the channel. Love Morton Downey Jr. when that was a big deal in local. He was on Channel 9 here in New York, based out of Secaucus. Yeah, you got to applaud James for being an internet personality 15 plus years, and his worst scandal was not wanting to see the new Ghostbusters movie. I definitely applauded him for that. And I was never I'm not a Ghostbusters guy. I think Ghostbusters is overrated, but I never saw that either, and I never would. Wes Anderson's very hit and miss for me, but when he hits really well, and when he misses hard. I rewatched the Royal Tenenbaums last year, and I remembered how much I hated that movie. Screenwave made James dump Mike. That's bullshit that he did that, because that's just fucking bullshit. If that's true, that's too bad. That's a shame. Yeah, I like the Chris Elliott Jr. show. Go look up Chris Elliott Jr. show on see Letterman clips of Chris Elliott Jr. where he's doing the Morton Downey impression. It's great stuff. Oh, I didn't know that. Patton Oswalt, who's fucking horrible, called James out for being a woman hater. How's that? How did he do? Where did that come from? I never saw the Angry Video Game Nerd movie. I thought that's kind of where it got a little too. I mean, I tried watching it, and I couldn't. Is it worth watching beginning to end? Yeah, pretty rich for a guy who killed his wife. Fuck. Oh. Okay. Patton Oswalt is so insufferable. How did that name not come to me earlier? We were talking about comedians we hate. He is so insufferable. Yeah, I'm sure he loved the female Ghostbusters. Fucking loser. Yeah, Patton Oswalt let his wife OD on drugs in the bed next to him, and then wasn't he engaged to somebody else like 3 months later? Fuck him. I can't say I ever liked Patton Oswalt, but I can tolerate his stand up. Like he had some interesting pop culture ish takes like 15 years ago, and it was interesting. You know, he'd be interesting. Like he has that funny bit where he goes off on the Star Wars prequels, which is okay. But man, oof. There was a weird thing with Jim Carrey's girlfriend. I forget the ins and outs of it. I don't want to say something out of. There was something weird about it though. Yeah, so speaking of Red Letter Media, so I guess Mike from Red Letter Media is also in Smiling Friends, not Perry's episode, but he's in another episode in season 1. So is Gilbert Gottfried. So it should be very interesting. Yeah, I'm a huge James Corden fan. I love his car karaoke. Great stuff. Best late night show is James Corden. Oh, I didn't know he did any voices in Aqua Team Hunger Force. Yeah, Carrey's ex-girlfriend. There was some kind of weird thing where he was like the family accused Jim Carrey of introducing her to coke or something, and I don't know, whatever. I know 5 point. I feel crazy. I'm looking at the time now, and it's just I'm at the point now where I'm like, ugh, I went past past the point where I should have got off. You know, it's funny. You mentioned say what you will about Craig Ferguson, but at least he had charisma. I liked Craig Ferguson a lot. The times that I saw him, and I don't watch too much late night talk shows, but he out of that whole, all of them, post Letterman and Conan, and obviously, but Craig Ferguson did a great show. He did a good show. And I think he was a very good interviewer, which is very hard to do in that late night format. When you got to cut to commercial so often, he was engaging. It didn't feel like his interviews were scripted or choreographed. He got things out of people, and he did a couple of episodes which I really admired, that were kind of like throwbacks to like old '70s talk shows where he didn't have a studio audience. He got rid of the studio audience to do interviews, where it was like he got more out. He felt he got more out of people when he didn't have to play to a studio audience. I thought that was really interesting. Yeah, I was disappointed when he left that. Yeah, because it was questionable when he got the gig, when he got that Late Show gig. He's like, oh, that's the guy from the Drew Carey show, but yeah, it turns out he was really good. I turned gave me a lot of respect for him, really, like, and he does seem like a cool guy. Yeah, I was never a Craig Kilborn fan, but I like that period. There was a period of time where Craig Kilborn left abruptly, like just decided to like give up that show, and then they had all these fill-ins for a long time, and it was interesting to see the type of people that normally don't do late night talk shows as like the guest host. My favorite Steve Martin movie, boy, it's surprisingly not The Jerk. I'd have to think about that. It's not The Jerk. It's not Three Amigos. It's Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, of course. I knew there was a major one that was, yeah, it's Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. By far. No contest. You stopped watching late night TV after Ferguson left. He was great, and everyone else comes up short. Yeah, late night TV sucks now. I mean, come on. Who are you watching now? Jimmy Fallon, Jimmy Kimmel, fucking Colbert. They're all cut from the same cloth. Bowfinger is underrated. I agree with you. I saw Bowfinger in a theater, but I didn't love it in the theater. And that was another movie that took me a good 10 years to come back to and watch it again and get just how good it is. Yeah, there's a three. Yeah, I know there's a longer version of Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Same thing. It's weird. There's the same thing with Uncle Buck. Uncle Buck, which obviously is not nowhere near as good, but still John Hughes, and Uncle Buck has a really long version too, and it's same similar thing. They cut half the movie. There's a pretty good documentary about. I think there's a YouTube documentary about both films separately. The Jerk is great. The Jerk is great. I just think everybody says The Jerk, and it's revered as this you know, big movie. Like movie that everybody has to bow down to, and it's very good. It's just not. It's not. I don't know. It's not of the same level. I think by the time Planes Trains came out, Steve Martin evolved a lot, like it just personally and comedically, where he was just perfect. He had this like perfect phase where I wish he would have done more good movies. He did a lot of shit too, but he was still a little too wacky. Jerk is a little too wacky for me, but it's still very good. This is the real late night TV. Yeah, any podcast. Yeah, that's the thing that killed late night TV. Podcasting fucking murdered late night TV. Why the fuck would you watch? Even if you want to hear interviews, who care? First of all, who cares about their takes on current events when they do their monologue? When's the last time you watched a monologue by any of these fuckers? Like, who cares about their monologues that are written by their woke writers in their woke writers' room? Who cares? And then who cares about their stupid bits that they do? Who cares about their band? Who cares about their musical guests? Who cares about these stupid celebrities that are coming on to plug their garbage? You don't hear anything. And then if you do care about these stupid celebrities, they're probably also promoting their stupid movie on a podcast that'll give you a much longer form interview, and you'd rather listen to that or watch that on YouTube than fucking stay up late to watch Jimmy Fallon, suck ass on whoever. Magic Johnson over James Corden, for sure. Grant, yes. Clutch Canuck. If you have time to sit down and read the entire script of Train's Play. Oh, I didn't know the entire script was out there. Oh, forgot about Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, but I got to put it behind. Planes, Trains. But didn't they do a remake of Dirty Rotten Scoundrels a couple years ago with two women? I forget who they were. It was like that not Melissa McCarthy, that other fat, no talent British chick. They called it something else, but it was clearly Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. Letterman was great because he hated the guests. Yeah, to a point though. I felt like older Letterman in the past 10 years or so was not as great. Well, that's the thing about Planes, Trains. The same. I think we talked about this one time. It's the same thing with Midnight Run, where both movies are funny, and the dynamic between the two leads is funny, but it's also got a lot of heart and a lot of great character moments between these two characters, and you care about them. You care about the characters in that movie. You can't say that about any. Compare that to the fucking Hangover. You just got these dopes that just bad things happen to them, and you just laugh at the situation, maybe, but you don't care about them. Like if all the characters die in that movie, you wouldn't care, but yet you feel heavy emotion at the end of Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, and John Candy sitting in that train station. You feel it because you spent time with this character. You love this character. You can't say that for any comedy that's come out, unless I'm mistaken, in maybe the past 20 years. The comedies are just written where it's like these stupid scenarios. The character development isn't there. They don't write the characters, and they don't write heart into the comedies. Whereas that's what was so brilliant about John Hughes, is he was able to imbue these heavy emotions into what is other. Basically there's scenes of slapstick and that downright slapsticks in that movie. Rebel Wilson, that's who I was thinking of, yeah. I think Letterman just in his older years, like not in his, his contract. I think he just wanted to be done. I think he had done it. I think personally, I think Letterman lost a lot of his gusto when Carson passed away. Johnny Carson passed away in 2004, and Letterman worshipped at the temple of Carson. And I think he lost a little bit of his step. And I just think he kind of started mailing it in after that. And I don't know if that was the reason, but it was around that time where over the years he stopped doing the bit. Like he would stop doing bits. Like he would leave the studio and go out and like go to the deli guy or do this or that. And then he would just send other people out to do it. And he wouldn't be as engaged with the bits anymore. And I don't know. He just seemed different in the later years. Although he perked up a bit when that whole Leno Conan drama was going on around like 2009, 2010. He did seem to get a little bit of his groove back around that time. Okay, I'll check out the. I didn't know the Planes Trains thing. Tommy Boy, I think calling Tommy Boy a John Hughes movie is an insult to John Hughes. Was there a Hangover 3? I don't remember there being a Hangover 3. I just remember those movies being terrible. And I don't like bearded Letterman either. I don't like Netflix Letterman. Looks terrible. It just feels weird. Like it doesn't feel like the same guy. It doesn't feel like the same guy that we grew up with, like watching. Yeah, that's a fair comparison. 2000s Letterman is like 2020 Stern, much staler than its prime. Yeah, my favorite Letterman is 80s. Like my favorite Letterman is Late Night with David Letterman, the 12:30 show. I mean, there was some good stuff in the first bunch of years of the CBS 11:30 show, but 80s Letterman is where it's at for me, and I'll still watch tons and tons of YouTube stuff from 80s Letterman. Especially early, like it's like the early Letterman shows where he wasn't getting like great guests at that point. He was having people on that were like very interesting late night guests. Like he had Mr. Rogers on, which that clip's been shown a lot. He had I think I've talked about this one time. There's a great clip of Letterman. I don't know if it's first couple of years. Like Andy Kaufman was a regular guest on Letterman in the early years, and Letterman loved him. Those are all great appearances. There's a great episode with, not episode, a great interview with Desi Arnaz, Ricky Ricardo, and he does a musical appearance, but he talks a lot about like he's very honest and talks a lot about like sitcoms and how things have evolved and like I Love Lucy and stuff. It's very interesting, but also like a lot of bits with like Larry Bud Melman. The show didn't rely on its guests probably until about like the mid 80s or so, like maybe 85, 86 is when he started getting like decent guests for 12:30. But before that, when you look at the set and it has those leather chairs, the brown leather chairs for his guests, those are good episodes. But when the set was like kind of a light brown, like those are great Lettermans before the set change. You liked Norm's Netflix show or Letterman's Netflix show? I didn't like Norm's Netflix show at all, but the Letterman show I didn't see. I only saw a couple of them, so I can't really judge it. Yeah, the Crispin Glover, all Crispin Glover interviews are kind of interesting on Letterman. Yeah, I think Conan had a similar appeal early on. But then, you know, like everybody else, Conan got that hard on for the Tonight Show spot, and it just ruined him. It's the same old story with all Maverick entertainers who change the game. They're great when everyone hates them and nobody believes in them because they're fighting something. Yeah, that's like Stern. But I can never figure out, it was Stern, was he always, did he change into this person he is now, or was he always that person and just played a part for all those years? Like he was always, I always felt like he was on the outside of a fancy restaurant looking in, and you can look at it one of two ways. And again, you know, I don't think this applies to Letterman, but Stern's outside the restaurant. He's seeing all these people dining, and like, you know, the Billy, you know, we'll say it's the '90s, like the Billy Crystals and the Hugh Grants and whoever's big at the time, and they're all cutting into their silverware and they're laughing and everything, and he can send Stuttering John into the restaurant and make fun of them all, and he can laugh at them and be bitter about them and be bitter about their success, but is he jealous, and does he really secretly want to be on the other side of the glass? Does he want to be in the restaurant with those people and wants to be friends with these people, and not want to be friends with these people, but does he want their respect and want their adoration? And was that true even back then? Because now clearly that's the case. He's in the restaurant now, and he's so far on the other side of the glass, you don't even see you can't even remember what his reflection looked like looking into the glass. But that's what I kind of always come back to, is, was Stern always that guy where he wants to be on the other side of the glass, or did he turn into that? Oh, you did like Norm's Netflix show. That's fine. I mean, it's cool. I mean, that's there's maybe little small things to like. What I didn't like it felt like a promotional piece just for Netflix, because all of his guests were promoting Netflix shows. Everybody on his show had a Netflix thing to promote. Maybe not Lorne Michaels, but I don't know. And he felt uncomfortable on it. I felt like watching him, he was like almost doing that show at gunpoint. Yeah, I think we've discussed how insufferable. Fallon's probably the worst of all late night hosts, because he just doesn't seem like he's cut out for it. He feels like I always thought of Fallon as like a little boy dressed in his dad's suit, playing dress up, and, you know, sitting behind a desk, you know, trying to do what other people do. He's just not good, and he's so phony and insufferably, what's the word, like, I just hate that Mr. Nice Guy thing. I like assholes. And the thing about Letterman, what made Letterman great is he was an asshole. He could be an asshole. You got the impression that he was kind of an asshole, and which was great. And the same thing with Carson. Carson could come off as kind of an asshole sometimes, but really fun, you know. But like, I don't know. I don't want a regular guy doing the late night talk show where like, oh, that's just could be one of us or any guy off the street. No, it's got to be, you know, that's fine for podcasting or whatever, but for late night TV, it's got to be something different. Some are looking in the window wanting in, and some are looking in the window wanting to smash it. Yeah. But do you want to smash it to get in, or do you want to smash it to ruin their good time? But I think Howard's changed and evolved over the years, but but it makes me question the guy that I grew up listening to. Like, was I listening to the real guy? Because I remember listening to Stern even in like the late '80s, early '90s, where he would go off on Johnny Carson, hated him, and he like would say, "Oh, Johnny beats his wife and does all this," but I think he was just mad because Carson never had him on, and I think he thought that he should have been able to go on a Carson at that point. And then as soon as Carson retired, he was one of the first guests on Letterman, on Leno's Tonight Show, and he just went on there. And I remember, as much as I liked Stern at the time, I remember even as a kid watching that episode. It was like '92, when was like maybe the first month of the Tonight Show with Leno, and Leno had him on, and Stern made a big deal about him finally going on the Tonight Show. We realized though, you're not going on the Tonight Show. You know, Johnny took the show with him. You're on the Jay Leno show. But Stern went on there and he just like badmouthed Johnny and badmouthed the whole old Tonight Show. And I, even as a kid, and I was like at the height of my Stern fandom, I thought that was a classless move, and I was really disappointed in him. Fallon as a game show host, no business being a late night host. I totally get that. I think, I get that. Yeah, that's a great point. Letterman and Carson were both notoriously cold and hard to befriend, but they did have certain friends. Like you knew when there were certain guests that would come on that would be very warm with them, and you knew they were kind of maybe partly friends after the show was over, and some other guests would aspire to that, which made it interesting. Yeah, I agree with you. You never listen to Stern, but you think he wanted in the restaurant bad. I agree. Yeah, I like that. Howard did some shitty shit to other DJs when he was starting to air. Yeah, he was ruthless. Hated competition. I like that in podcasters, actually. Even like shitty comedian podcasts, when they get like ruthlessly competitive and they start trashing other people, like especially if they're going up against them, like in a similar, if they're live, in a time slot. Like I like that aggressive competition between hosts or shows, and Stern was oh my god, there's things that guy John DeBella out of Philadelphia, when Howard first went into Philly and John DeBella was his morning zookeeper. Oh my god, it's so uncomfortable how hard he went after him. Like he found his ex-wife, brought him onto the show. He would set his ex-wife up on dates with his whack pack. He would just get all kinds of dirt on him. I mean, it was unbelievable. Unbelievable. Podcasters should hurt each other. Yeah, I like that. It's aggressive. And by the way, competition breeds creativity. Even they look at wrestling, when WWE was up against WCW, it made both products better because there was just such insane competition. The Monday Night Wars, and I was not a big wrestling guy, but I think competition is great. I don't hate Tim Dillon. Tim Dillon doesn't really exist in my universe. I don't really give a shit about Tim Dillon. But I think he's phony. Like all these guys are phony. I mean, I know very little about him. I just, sometimes he comes up in my YouTube algorithm or stuff. And yeah, stream's still going, but we're gonna wrap it up actually, because I'm doing it again tonight. I gotta move shit today. I gotta do the same thing. I gotta move fucking furniture and shit like today. Not furniture, like pack up boxes and shit and go back and forth, and I'm gonna be dead today, and I'm gonna get in so much trouble. Oh, what time did you end the stream last night? And I'll say, oh, maybe around 2. Oh, okay. Really? Because I thought it went to like 6. Oh, no. I got up to pee. Yeah, there's a good. I didn't. Speaking of Monday Night Wars, there's that DVD that came out, WWE put out, where it was actually they produced a documentary on the Monday Night Wars. I thought that was really good. Stern is in his late 60s. He brought so much laughter to your life, you don't want to bash him. Well, I do. I fucking hate. I just hate what he's become. I hate when people ruin their legacy, whether it's an athlete, a singer, a band, a comedian, when they just had such a great legacy. Can I, Robert? Where were you tonight? Have you been here all along? Can I explain Pittsburgh Rare and why a human would want a steak cold inside? First of all, steak's never cool. The waiters always sell that, when you go to a steakhouse and you order medium rare, let's say, like they have to reiterate because they think you're a dummy. Like, oh, okay, so you want a steak, and it's red and cool in the center. It's never cool in the center. The fucking steak is always cooked. Okay, Pittsburgh rare though. That's how I prefer my steak, and it is basically a rare steak, which just means it's red. And all these restaurants overcook everything. So if you ask for a rare burger or a rare steak, you're really getting medium rare-ish. If you ask for medium rare, you're really getting medium. And I would always rather get it on a slightly undercooked, because you can have them cook it more than overcooked. But anyway, Pittsburgh rare is rare with a heavy char on the outside, and it comes from the term Pittsburgh rare comes from Pittsburgh coal miners, where they didn't have a lot of time, and they would basically cook steak in these like really raging hot infernos, and they put it in really quick just to get, and the steak would get this insane char on it, it would be ready to eat in like like a minute. But that's what I like. Cosby's legacy is firmly intact. Yes. Howard Stern is the old man movie Quentin Tarantino never wants to make. Yeah. I think he should have quit. Yeah, I kind of agree with you. Even though there's some good stuff post-Serious, I think if he would have went out in 2005, he'd be just legendary status. I don't know. There's not a lot of podcasts out there I can listen to. There is a podcast. Speaking of Carson, there's a if you're really interested in Johnny Carson stuff and just like old stories from old talk shows, like old I don't know, like just stories from people that worked on Carson, and just to go back to that forgotten time. There's a podcast called the Carson Podcast, and all they do is talk about old Carson, and they usually have people on that were like writers or people that worked on the show. I've not listened to every episode, but the ones I have been very interesting. Like they'll get like former guests on and things like that and talk about the dynamic with Johnny and stuff. It's very interesting if you're into that. But anyway, I'm gonna call it a night or a morning. Fuck. Time got away from me tonight because even like about an hour, 2 hours into the stream with Perry, I looked at the time and I was surprised. I think my clock was off today. Yeah, it's so late. Fucking John came back, and he said goodnight like 5 hours ago. Let's go back to talking about audiophile stuff, John. That's how I'll end the day. Yeah. It'd be much better when I don't have this fucking stupid Perry Caravello live screen on, the ending soon screen. I know I gotta get set up with that. It's obviously not gonna happen now because I'm moving. Yeah, you and me both, John. I never sleep either. Did I miss the Comedy Store on my last trip? You fucking know I missed the Comedy Store on my last trip. Like, missed it, like, avoided it like the plague. I'd rather spend a week in Perry's apartment than a night in the Comedy Store. Yeah, might as well have. I think I'm gonna have a bowl of cereal. I'm starving. Yeah, I know the screen, but I should have more of a visual thing on here. I'll get that sorted out. Yeah. Fuck. All right, I'm gonna kill it for real. 8 hours and 46 minutes combined. It's so crazy. Yeah, I would hope that most people are listening. Do I think this store is better or worse than Rogan Gang is Gone? Probably as bad. I don't know. I've not been there, thankfully. That's that horrible documentary with the Comedy Store that was like is basically just an infomercial for Rogan and his fucking crew of losers. Is there hope for PCL and Big Three live? What do you mean, together? I doubt it. Why do I hate the Comedy Store? Because it's a dump. Overrated. People consider it this temple of greatness. It's not. The place, have you ever been there personally? It stinks. It smells perpetually like 1989. This whole year where that dump was closed, by the way, you think they would have like treated it and like, maybe gotten some new carpets in there or tables and chairs, but nope. Still the same shithole. And all the people that go there are terrible. So that's why I hate the comedy. I hate all comedy clubs, but the Comedy Store that for some reason gets this reverence where it's this like temple of greatness. It's not. You killed your phone falling asleep? What do you mean you killed it? To the stream one night? The bathrooms are great to me. Yeah, that's the one part that the Comedy Store does right. Their nachos and their bathrooms are top first rate. Fucking disgusting. I wonder how you think the bathrooms are still bad? Because that's the one thing I've noticed about the pandemic that actually brought up positive stuff is public bathrooms have never been better. Like everywhere. But I doubt at that place it's probably still shit. No, I don't. I've been to the Bow, but I don't like it. But anyway, we'll call it. We'll call it here. Good night, guys. Thanks for hanging out. And Robert, I didn't sell AMC. I'm rolling the dice through Monday. We'll see what happens. See what happens. Yeah, I've been there. Don't know how it makes money. You can just walk in and it's such a mess. Nobody notices. I know. Apparently they firmed that up a little bit, but I see it going under. I can't see how they. I can't see how they can survive the past year. I think the Shores sell it, and I don't know. That's just my prediction. I don't see it lasting. It's just that real estate's too. That real estate's too much. Yeah, you're not wrong, Grant. I can go on and on about that, but I won't. Good night, guys. See you on Sunday. My last stream from this location. Yeah. Yeah, I'm in New York. Yeah, I always like to see how long the East Coasters hang in for the entire duration. John and I are on Long Island. But yeah, West Coasters still have the whole night ahead of them. Trying to find this thing and then I'm going to close this. Yeah, I kind of agree that the East Coast is the best coast, but I don't get into the coast as long as I don't know. I like parts of the I like some aspects of the West Coast, but I'm definitely an East Coast guy. I never understood, and I make this. I always say I'm gonna make this last thing, but I never understood like watching things like, I don't know, like let's say the World Series. The World Series starting at 8 o'clock kind of feels right on the East Coast, and then you realize that it's starting at 5 on the West Coast. That doesn't feel right. Like live events, I like being on the East Coast. A lot of scary people in this. You mean the PCL fan base, John? I think this is a pretty good collection of people that we have. Or you mean comedy as a whole? Hard hitters, comedy wise. California, California's got to get its shit together before I can embrace the California's where it's at stuff. It's just oppressively expensive to live in. The state punishes you for living there if you live anywhere good. Anyway, I guess this isn't going to go. I was trying to get something going up here. All right, I'm going to go get a couple hours of sleep and then move some shit. So, we'll see you all on Sunday. Good night, good morning, have a pleasure tomorrow, as Perry would say. Not all Southern California. You have it there in San Diego. San Diego's great. Orange County's great. Anything north of that is garbage. All right, good night, guys. For reals.